This is Targeted Massachusetts, signing in at 9:08 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And good evening. Go ahead, Targeted West Virginia. Do you have something to say? Okay, this is probably going to be one of those quiet nights, or at least it'll start that way until we get people that are of the mind to speak and not listen. But as I have said, it is a very sad day. Stephen Ponton, is it?
Steve in Columbus, Ohio. Yes, sir.
Would you like to comment?
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment on today. I'm ready for the 25th Amendment. Let Pence finish out the next 13 days.
I think you'll see that happen. Unfortunately,
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
It's my opinion that will happen, and they certainly have merit to do so. My reasoning is that it would seem that many of the orders to do this came from the president himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we missed the boat by not impeaching him way back when, and I don't think he's mentally capable of doing the job. He's certainly not earning his paycheck. Just the reverse.
Yes. I'm going to try and stay not totally neutral. More neutral.
Away from politics.
Okay, ABC, you have an audio issue. ABC, you have an audio issue. You can unmute yourself when you feel that you have it solved. Good evening, Claudia. Good evening, Foley, Alabama. Hello. You have successfully joined the meeting. We're up to 25 people at exactly 12 minutes past 9. And I would like to say that I was appalled watching the events of today. There is a video of the events, including the woman being shot, on band.video. And for those of you who are interested in seeing it, I've never seen anything like this in my life. As a matter of fact, this total year of 2020, I have never seen in my lifetime, and hoped it would not carry to January 6th of 2021. But it has. So we have to deal with it.
Yeah. This is Steve again in Ohio. One of the reasons I think the 25th Amendment should be immediately invoked is because we have to get through the next 13 days, and the guy that's in the White House now, he may start some kind of war just to say, you guys ought to be all with me, you know, that kind of thing. Very dangerous. Next 13 days, very dangerous.
Many things can happen, and I agree, unfortunately.
It's incredibly dangerous.
Yeah, we have the terrible suitcase or briefcase is within his grasp.
Oh, yeah. hard to think about that.
Right. But I'm sure they're going over these same thoughts. I'm sure every senator and representative had the same thoughts today.
Wonder what the cabinet's thinking, because I think they would be the ones to invoke the 25th Amendment along with Pence.
They've actually virtually dumped the whole thing. Everyone is disgusted at this point in time, and they have just about had it. And I can't say as I blame them. His wife's press secretary has resigned, so there could be division between husband and wife, and everyone in there says that he has gone crackers. But everything has to all come out from the sources intended, I guess. This meeting we were watching is very important. It's an historic meeting. Go ahead, Stephen. You got the floor.
Well, I was just going to say his niece, what's her name? Mary Trump. She had an interview recently, and she said Donald will break things on his way out. She knows him better than we do, and she said he will break things on his way out.
The earliest that I saw of something that I did not like was his opposing a defense spending bill, which he is normally very fond of, and he wrote it right out. He rejected it. But that defense spending... Go ahead, sir.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, I was just going to say there's pork in every defense bill, but defense spending has not just increased. It's doubled since 2000. Doubled.
Right.
So, and there's pork in every defense bill, and he was trying to pick out some pork to give him the benefit of the doubt. But still, the hundreds of defense contractors have so much political pressure that that's why the veto was overridden. But every once in a while, Trump accidentally does something right.
Yeah, there was a lot of pork in the barrel.
Yeah.
Foley, Alabama, did you want to join in?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. You know what? I thought I was muted. How do I mute?
*6, ma'am.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be noisy. I thought I was muted.
No, actually, you were perfectly quiet, but your mic alluded to the fact that you were in the active speaker area. So,
that happens to me too. I didn't know until I was familiar. You have to hit star when you first get on. You're not muted. You have to hit *6 to mute, and then if you want to get unmuted, you have to hit *6 again. I didn't know that. I was making all kinds of noise the other night.
No, it's quite all right.
I have a comment.
Sure, go right ahead, Richmond.
Thank you. This is Jade, Northern California, and I was thinking, what happens if and when this martial law rolls out? I think targeted individuals are going to be pretty freaked out. When they start knocking on our door, if they do, what are we going to do? Like, what do you think they're going to ask us? How do you think we should prepare for that?
I just think
we should...
Don't answer it. Okay?
Don't answer the door?
Don't answer it. If you see armed officials or National Guard or people like that, don't answer the door simply because that's a law. They cannot break down your door unless they have probable cause. So, you will be written down as not home. But that's just a piece of advice to keep you safe. And that's one of the things that I try and do, and that's keep people safe. But Stephen, you have a lot of great comments in thank you, Northern California. We've got Burlington, Vermont that just came in. Would you like to speak? Okay, well, I'm just going to go on to say that, yes, this was an historic day in the history of the United States, and they mentioned in Congress that it would be right up there with December the 7th. So it was just a congressman speaking, just the idea that he would equate January the 6th was with December the 7th was had quite an impact on me. Okay, we need some speakers who would like to comment. Stephen, you had the floor, and you still do until you give it up.
Oh, well, thanks. I don't really have a lot to say right now. I'm ready for that 25th Amendment. I was ready for it 4 years ago, to be honest with you. And I noticed there's been a lot of talk over the years that Trump is in the corner of TIs. But I don't, he's had a microphone anytime he wants it the last 4 years. And I've never heard him say a word about our community at all. Have you?
No, I have not. There were rumors that I believe it was from Karen Stewart's attorney who was in contact with him and said that after his problems with immigrants, he would be on our case. But I believe the man has targeted himself, and this could be the reason why he has acted in such a manner at the end of his presidency.
That's interesting. He could be targeted. Mm-hmm.
There are many reasons why he would be, and he may be targeted silently without any V2K, but just with strong, strong suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we now have 34 in the meeting. Welcome to Targeted Massachusetts Northeast Conference. Welcome, Skip. Tortured in Canada, just joined. So we have Richard from North Carolina. Would you like to comment?
Hi guys, just coming in, running a little bit late tonight, long trip today. Hope you guys are doing well. Got a lot of stuff going on in the news today.
You're fading in and out, Richard. You need to get in one place. Okay.
Yeah, that's why I was waiting. I'm still moving around doing stuff, so. Hope everybody's doing well today, and a lot of stuff going on in the news. Everybody, please be safe.
Exactly. That's what you have to do. Be safe.
Yep, gotta be safe. Heard someone say something about the defense spending doubling. That's no real new thing, considering we got a lot of stuff going on in this government, and a new branch of the military that they're not talking very much about also.
Well, Space Command has been actually used in the community quite a few times. And I think it didn't become official until last year.
Yeah.
And I believe they call themselves the Guardians. I think that's what it was the Space Command, but they were officially called the Guardians.
Oh. Sounds more like a gang than a branch of the military.
Well, supposedly they're going to be up in space protecting our interests in space, which would be the International Space Station, our satellites. I don't know what they're doing. They could have an outpost on the dark side of the moon for all we know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we can use all the Guardians we can get. Yeah. Might need a few of them in Washington, D.C.
What do you think of events of today, Richard?
Well, I think it was all set up and planned, first of all, and mainly to disrupt, probably to slow down the count, maybe even put it off for a while. Get some people hurt, another thing, but it's going to kind of be like the van thing that blew up in Nashville. It was a test item. It's going to be happening again, I'm sure.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% there. We had a woman lose her life. She looked like she was in her early 30s. Unfortunately, there was the video that's banned is actually right inside when they were taking over, and this woman was shot in the process. In the beginning, I thought that actually 2 people had been shot, but apparently they reran, I guess, a portion of it.
Yeah, a lot of it was got hold of quickly and deleted and changed, and it can be done. It can be done quickly. You can walk outside with your phone or camera, take a picture of the stalker's car and tag number, and by the time you get back to your door to go inside, it's already gone. So.
Yeah, I'd just like to sidestep this just for a second, and I'd say pray for Mike Mason, because he is in a bad spot right now. He is evidently stuck on the woman who sounds like Linda Costanza. And I'm not going to get into it any more than that, but it has been very, very hot and heavy. He's turned his back on me and asked me to remove him from any and all lists and conversations and whatnot. And he has done the same with, I'm not going to say, because actually that's another affair that's not anything to
Frank,
do.
I think I've, not lately, but I think I recall hearing someone in the community that sounded kind of like her. But, I guess I can think of someone who did. I don't recall her name.
Right.
I hope it works out.
Right. There was a woman on here that didn't sound exactly
yeah.
like Linda, but
somewhat.
Somewhat like
yeah.
Linda. So
yeah.
I immediately thought to myself, oh, she sounds a little like Linda, but that's as far as it went. I didn't even think that anyone was purposely imitating her. that would be cruel beyond belief, and I don't think we would see that here unless it was a true perpetrator. And we don't, it's very, people will say that, okay, so-and-so did this because it's very hard to do. It's very easy to do. I mean, I could do that in my studio back in the late 80s. It was very easy. A keyboard instrument called a Korg M1 had that attribute. And you could actually change your voice to sound like whoever you wanted to. That was back then. So imagine what you can do now. You can probably put a piece over your phone with the ID that you would like yourself to sound like, and that's it. So it doesn't take a lot of technical ability, it just takes a jerk. So that's where we can leave that, but like I say, send some prayers out to Mike.
Gotcha.
I'm going to check out the chat and see what we have going on here. Oh, okay, the XB-37. I'm familiar with that. Land O'Lakes says the Space Force is made up of the XB-37 space plane and SpaceX. SpaceX has a very unique way of not wasting spacecraft and not leaving space junk up in the atmosphere, because their launch vehicles come back down and land, which is something that NASA could have done way back when, but they spent all that money on that big giant oxygen tank and those twin boosters, and that, I'm terribly sorry to say it, but that was born to fail. It was an accident waiting to happen. You're right about that, CPAL. From the chat, from CPAL, they are trying to maintain perpetual brain entrainment, and yes, they are. And then the space shuttle was a human disaster. Well, it was. You've got two giant solid rocket boosters that are put together in pieces with O-rings. And it's just like a Roman candle, if you will, or an old rocket, Chinese rocket, or a bottle rocket, anything like that. It's not controllable. Once you light it up, that's it. Yeah, and the shuttle had a crew cabin, but it didn't have any way to separate the crew cabin from the spacecraft, and that's coming from, let me see, Land O'Lakes again. No escape system. Okay, we need some people to come up and start a new topic or work on the topic we started with, which was political, and in this case, I don't mind, but just be adults. We have Martha, we have Skip, let me see. Okay, we have another call that just joined. We're even 40 at 9:33. Yeah, Gertrude, I think it was just saying, I just saw it come in real quick. She was just saying that she's experiencing something where they feel like they fill you up with air. A lot of people are coming across with that. A lot of people. Good evening, Marcus. Just joined the meeting. Okay, Richard, do you have any comments?
Well, I'd like to remind everyone we're still at that beginning of the year, and we need to put our heads together, see if we can't come up with some aspects pertaining to the things that we could be working on to help each other as well as ourselves. By doing so, we will help ourselves, and we need to form some strong groups and bonds and have some sort of perspective on, as we said before, working on particular items, particular articles to research and get the truth laid out there in front of us. So every time we turn around, there's little bits and pieces coming out, and it seems to pass over us. And I, for one, would like to invent a TI skyhook so that these things come by, we're already set up with the things we need to say and information that needs to be placed on that hook, so we can't continue to be left behind.
Yeah, that's interesting. We have to get, eventually, more TIs in one area. If not a building or group of buildings, we need to get people together in a place where we all can communicate freely. And I don't want to see another incident where the FBI storms a building, and kills all the people or whatever. I forget that guy's name now, but we need to be in one place. It seems like we're all separated, all of us. We're all separated all across the country. We've got a bunch in California. It's just we've got groups in Colorado. We have Massachusetts, the Northeast. We've got the Southeast. There's so many groups and so many people. And there are groups and people that we haven't heard of yet, probably. So we need to get these people together in one place. I mean, if a TI is loose, and I mean loose by, okay, just paying rent somewhere and waiting to split, it would be nice to have a place to go and therefore get everyone together and protect those that are starting to age, that would be slammed into a psychiatric facility, a place where we could protect those as their sons and daughters should have protected them, but have been shunned by their sons and daughters. Any comments on that?
Absolutely. Imagine having two penthouse floors in the same building the FBI has. Above them, having the two floors above them, and all their equipment and surveillance, and let them watch the cars, let them have the electronics coming and going and signals going off in their offices all day, and maybe the gas and the chemicals, and say, well, you can't deny it now. You're a floor below us, but that's just speculation. But yeah, to help defend each other in whatever way we can. I've said we know what they can do with us alone and isolated, what they're capable of doing to all of us. I think it's time we learn and see what they can do when we are grouped up and can help each other. I think it was going to be a whole lot less. That's what I think.
NGOs like the Allen Institute can get a building or a complex donated to us from a city. It happens every day. 2 years ago, a school went for $1 to a group that flopped. Not a TI group. But then we have to think about, okay, how to heat it. Okay, large complex, how to heat it. So we need funds to do that. But we are in the process of getting a grant, and I want to put that grant towards a piece of property where we all can collect somewhere. And collectively, then we have a voice. We are the city of blank, you know, and or the organization who seems that much stronger. Oh, Sumaya just left. But that's what we have to do. You guys can have the floor. I'm going to listen and drink my coffee for a few minutes. I've been watching all the news bulletins and everything, and it's terrible what's going on. Okay, Richard, we got Skip. You better be good, Skip. And we have Richmond, California, in the and we have Calgary. And we have. Go ahead.
I would love to see one of these abandoned towns. I see a lot of completely abandoned whole towns that are just sitting there and nobody's doing anything with them. That would be a really good start.
Well, I'm going to put it to you guys. You guys can be the scouts. Find that abandoned town. I know there was one and still is partially abandoned out west. I think it's Arizona, and I think the name of it is Jerome, Arizona, oddly enough. And I think part of it was taken over by a gay community, and I don't know how much. I know there was a whole city along with a hotel, a downtown, just deserted. So we need a place like that, and if we could all research Jerome, Arizona, I believe, that would be fantastic. Go ahead.
Jerome is not abandoned. There are lots of hotels and restaurants. It came back.
Okay, I was there when there was nothing there. There were like 2 people in the town, and I remember seeing an old Chevrolet backed out onto, well, actually through the garage and onto a platform that was barely held up. So I'm glad to see that it came back, but at the same time, we could have used it. But there's more out there. Southwest and Middle West, there are towns out there that have been abandoned because copper mines have folded up. There are places abandoned that left behind by the gold rush, believe it or not. But the land is there. The land is there and it's available. So we have to look. Just a thought.
Yes, and Arizona is full of diamond mines and other type of mines that have closed down and left whole places completely empty. Some pretty nice. West Virginia also full of coal mining towns, and further north into Pennsylvania, just shut down, whole towns left, and most of these towns have railroad access and some even small airstrips, so it wouldn't be completely isolated, which would be good. But to group some people together to work together to rebuild it and turn it into a safe place to live, and that would be better than the way all of us are having to live isolated and by ourselves.
Yeah, agreed. I know there's one place in West Virginia you don't want to go to. I think it's West Virginia. But I guess there's a fire. They had a cave-in and an explosion, and the fire never went out. I guess it's still burning today. So that was one hell of a coal vein they had.
Yeah, they made a movie about that place. It was called Silent Hill. And I don't know if it's still burning or not. I don't think so, but it may be.
Yeah, I think I saw a documentary on it not too long ago. But I can check. But even big cities will donate.
Are you talking about Centralia, Pennsylvania? Because that's on top of a coal mine that's still on fire.
Okay, maybe that's it. Yep. I wouldn't be a bit surprised. Yeah, when I think coal mines, I think of Appalachia, and I think of coal mines that were activated during the Trump administration, and a lot of fracking that was going on, and I'm wondering if this is going to continue because it put a lot of Americans to work, and it helped the economy, and we are not, as far as I know, dependent on foreign energy at this particular point in time. So it would be interesting to learn what happens now that the Democrats are firmly seated for the present time, to see if they shut down a lot of this, I would say, self-sufficient United States. I mean, California went green, but California also went dark because on cloudy days, the sun's not there, they're not producing electricity, and that's why they have all these brownouts, blackouts, and someone from California, if you're here, could probably explain that a little better than I, but that's what I'm hearing. The green state that went black, it's I think that's a documentary too, worth seeing. But you cannot, well, you can, but it's hard to convert a state that is already dependent on, we'll say, just to give you examples, coal, oil. Now, I don't know if California is including nuclear plants or not. I don't know whether they call nuclear plants red or green. Are nuclear plants green to me? No, they're not. You have to get rid of that nuclear waste somewhere. Somewhere in the United States, there is a stockpile of nuclear waste, and it's plutonium, and it's hot, and it will be hot for God only knows how many thousand years. In Switzerland, they put it inside a mountain, down a deep, deep mountain shaft. So that'll only catch up with them because one day that mountain shaft will be full, and they're going to have one hell of a hot mountain in terms of radioactivity. Who's got something new? Oh, go ahead. Did I hear somebody? Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to add to what you said. The creation of nuclear power is not worth the cost of nuclear waste. It's too much for the gain.
They do say that since entire nations, like dirty China is one of the dirtiest countries when it comes to waste. I guess from space, the atmosphere actually started to look cleaned up a little bit because we didn't have all that smoke and all that particulate falling down on us, and we didn't have jetliners flying overhead every day because they were grounded. So things started to clean up. That's the only good thing I can think of about this pandemic.
Yeah, a lot less gas and planes and coal and everything being used. Earth getting a little bit of break from man's destruction. Yep. That's
right. And that's what slaughtered. This is what partially slaughtered the economy. And that's no one was using the oil. And this sent the dollar into a train wreck in the very beginning, and they immediately started to bolster up the market. And that will be the Federal Reserve. I guess they kept packing it in there. How do you run this? I mean, you've got all this money that's unaccounted for. It just falls out of the sky in the form of decimal points. And you know, it doesn't have anything behind it. It's fiat currency, as they call it. Fiat currency is currency that's not backed by anything. But our economy at this point in time, as far as I know, depends on oil and the use of it. So, all those trips across the country that people used to make to visit other states, well, that's not happening anymore because the gasoline got too expensive. And people just aren't doing it anymore. But that's when gasoline was really cheap. But now we have COVID, distress in the White House, and being targeted all at the same time. And I did mention earlier that Kate Ryan discontinued her conference call that's been around for years and years, and I hope that she elects to refire it, because it's been around a long time, and Kate's been a target. And I hope she comes back.
Well, it's a shame we couldn't have cleaned up the planet and the earth years and years ago and cut back on the oil. The population was doing a lot of frivolous spending, and now we got the government doing a lot of frivolous spending and unwarranted, well, just money going in all different directions and pinned down. But I did hear something new over radio show last night. A gentleman named, well, they call him Ben the pharmacist Ben, came on Coast to Coast, and he was telling that it has been verified that this virus is not a living virus, that it is a makeup of different materials, and it is being found in the body, that it's not a living, as the word he used to describe it was information, as if you were to put information in a, let's say, a chicken, You put certain information in that chicken that changes his genetics and makes him grow fatter and shorter or thicker or heavier. Genetic information is what the virus really is. It's not a living virus that you can actually kill. It has to be broken down and dismantled physically. It can't be killed.
Yeah, it was previously, actually, the SARS virus is a coronal type virus, and Dr. Anthony Fauci said back in 2000, and I believe 15, that hydroxychloroquine, I think I've got it right, hydroxychloroquine, whatever it is, chloroquine, he said was the best cure against SARS. Now, SARS is so much like COVID-19, it's not funny. So what we need to investigate is what happened.
Right.
Chloroquine was the top drug. The President of the United States took it, and he was up and around in 3 or 4 days. So the vaccine is what, the vaccine scares me a lot more than the virus. I know that this is a lot tougher than the regular flu, but I don't get the flu. So, I don't get vaccinated for it. And the time that I did get vaccinated for it, I got the flu. So that's the last time I took that. So, what does the new vaccination have in it? I don't know anybody that likes it. Does anybody have any pertinent information on this vaccine they'd like to share? Because we need the RNA facts, is what I'm looking for. Some people will say that this changes DNA, but it only changes it in that particular cell that the virus has taken over. And others say that this RNA makeup will take over and change the DNA in your whole body. I cannot see that, but it's a possibility. That's why we need somebody on this particular call who knows something about the vaccine.
Well, that's why the gentleman was saying that it had to be broken down, it had to be dismantled. It wasn't a living entity, something that you could just kill. It had to go into there at a cellular level and change it, just rearrange it, break it down. It wasn't about killing it, but there was one interesting material that he said was in the vaccines that I've been looking into quite a bit today, and it's something that we've all heard of and is kind of common nowadays. It didn't used to be very common, but it's called ivermectin, and that is a type of poison that has been used for years and years for animals and now humans that pertain to parasites. And it was even mentioned by pharmacist Ben that this ivermectin is being promoted at medical places across the country. Now these doctors are saying, here's your vitamin A, here's your vitamin B, here's your vitamin C, oh, and don't forget the ivermectin. So it's becoming a common thing for doctors to promote the use of this drug. And I find that a little suspicious, a little curious, especially if it's something that works at a cellular level. See, we've already been changing animals for years and years and years at a cellular level. And we've been doing it at all the farms to make them grow the way we like them to grow, to quick as they can, and just changing their genetics with these chemicals and drugs. And
yeah, that was the interjection of growth hormones. And a lot of those growth hormones ended up in our teenagers. And that's why we saw for quite some time breasts in young girls taking over at a very, very early age. And that's from the beef. Now, we thought it was the water, but we later on learned that it was in fact the beef that was doing that. And these hormones are very, very strong, and they're for the exact reasons that you say, to make the beef exactly what they want. And they bred the steer with the buffalo, and they come up with the beefalo. I don't know if you remember that, but that was a long time ago. I don't know what happened to it, but they tried it. And ordinarily, you wouldn't think that that would work because they're two different species. That's a rule on Earth. It seems two different species, when mated, you will come up with zip. But in this particular instance, they might have done a little cellular cloning, possibly. That was a long time ago. So,
yep.
That was a long time ago. Just think what they can do today. I know that in Japan, I believe it's Japan, they actually put a complete plastic, what appeared to be a dog or an animal inside a cell without disturbing the cell membrane using a radio frequency. So I was amazed at that. That was early on too.
Oh yeah. Well, we've got a lot of strange things happening to people as well as animals in our community. I can vouch for that much, and a lot of it seems to have to do with connections that they've been making through this pandemic. I mean, a virus that when you look at it, it's not a living thing. You evaluate it and you come up with the fact that it's information. It's some kind of genetic information. Says a lot. And how it got there, if you answer that question, says an awful lot too. And then the techniques that they're using, including things that we know of from the past, is, I don't know. I'm just thinking over a period of time things are going to come out. And it's not be what a lot of people, well, like you said, it's not the flu. It's not, the vaccine for a flu. It's not the usual ball game. The whole thing is up in the air and different. Now they're talking about different strains of mutation pertaining to the COVID-19 is more or less different information codes, more genetic changing material. It's not a living virus. And, they had trouble trying to figure out, was it airborne? Was it touch or contact? How did this thing spread? How did it get from place to place? And they never really, I don't think, figured that one out completely. They never really said, come straight out and verified how it was moving from place to place. But if this is a genetically altering entity, the virus itself being able to genetically change people without, then it had to have come from somewhere. And man-made or not, accidental or on purpose, it doesn't really matter, because and the shot itself, the vaccine itself, being part of the same, a genetically altering shot, it's kind of scary.
Oh, yes, it is. That is really scary. Good evening, Anonymouses. Anonymouses, you have exactly 1 hour to think of a name to use every time when you come on this particular call, including Lily's Monday night call, because the reasoning is this: I have to protect not only everyone else on the call, but myself. Any anonymous could disrupt the meeting, and I would not know which anonymous it was. So please, within the next hour, try and engage in thinking of a new name, a fake name, or your real name. That's your choice. And come back here with that name. I would appreciate it. And that's to protect everyone. You might have
use a fictitious name?
Excuse me?
Use a fictitious name, or
yeah, we could have a
real name.
Fictitious. It could be fictitious. You just use the same one every time, and we'll get to know you when you come on and when you speak. And it's not much to ask. We, the moderators, do not get paid for this particular service, and we do not get paid for our time. We have to shell out for this, for that. Believe me, it gets expensive. So, with that, let's move on. Does anybody have any new stories or an old story, like say that you're a brand new target and you're coming here for the first time? Anybody would like to come forward? Feel free.
Well, my name's Missy, and I've been a member since 2013. I started calling in, and sometimes I'd go a year without saying anything, sometimes I talk, but it's because of the there wasn't a lot of support. I guess calling in, and so that's why I disappear for a year or something.
Okay, the support network is increasing every day, and if you join Ella's call, Ella does not have a chat or an attendees list because she has been so viciously targeted in the past, and I'm sure she will open up her call to that any time. And she is premier support, and we like to consider ourselves the same, and we are all allies. No one can get between any moderator, and that's the way it is. And we've had meetings, we've discussed this, and we are rock solid together. And that would be Ella Free, myself, Midge Mathis, and would like to think Neil would be part of it. And we'll just leave it at that. But we don't want any dissension or anybody cutting up anybody else. And that's in the past. The East and the West are united together with the central part of the country. And we're trying to pick up other states and other groups, like far down south in Florida, Alabama, Kentucky, Colorado. We have Laura here tonight. I just saw her come in a little while ago. And she handles Colorado. So any TIs from any state that wish contact with other TIs, we can usually come up with someone who is at least in the state, if not close by.
And of course, if anyone wants to call me just for conversation or have someone to talk to, ask some questions, maybe connect you with some other people, you can always call me at my number, 919-252-1103. I sleep during the day. I'm usually up at night. So I can find someone if you just need someone to talk to or maybe even help some.
Okay, can you read? And your name is?
My name is Richard. Yeah.
Richard. And your number is 919-529?
252 1103.
03. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, and ma'am, along those same lines, my name is Frank Allen. My phone number is 508-857-8334. That's my personal cell. And if you forget the number, just go to Targeted Massachusetts.
Okay, what's your, and this is Frank, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Frank Allen. You know, on Facebook, I'll see you'll do it like once a day, but you'll send out your newsletter or send it out, and because I've lost numbers in the past or trying to get through, but I could always go to Frank Allen and find the number to call in. But because you do that, you know. What's your number again?
508 857 8334. And we also list Ella's call there. We list Neil's call there, and the other moderators. So
I just want to say to the woman that's speaking, I'm sorry you didn't feel supported enough. I know a lot of people in this community care about other people who are also experiencing the same crimes. I'm sorry you feel that way. And Richard, thanks for providing a phone number for people, and you too, Frank.
Thank you, Ella. We are all one unit fighting for the same goal.
Well, I think everybody is. That's one thing we can all agree on.
Yes, ma'am. You're all correct. Thank you, Ella.
Frank?
Yes.
Yes. This is Kiko out in California.
Hi, Kiko.
Hi. Does mine, like Hamamoto or something, does it show up or is it unknown?
Yes.
Oh, it does?
Yes.
Okay. I wasn't sure. I mean, I've had tremendous phone problems, all sorts of things happening, so I wasn't sure.
How is your husband?
I I don't know for sure. There are some things that are cropping up and a little bit right.
You see,
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Okay.
I mean, well, no, what's a good time to call you? I need to talk to you about one thing. Yeah.
After 1 p.m.
Your time?
Yes, Eastern Standard Time.
Okay.
After 1 p.m. because this can run to 1 or it can run to 3. It depends.
Yeah.
But it's hard for me because I have a lot of things to do during the day and I have a lot of things to do at night. So I have to try and get some sleep. I've been attacked viciously the last 2 days.
Oh,
and,
yeah, we've been, his situation's a little different from mine, but I've been locked out in my email, and a lot of things have been going on with the phones, and I'm not sure if I got stuck with a malware and a hyperlink, but all sorts of things. And then, like the gentleman was describing the other night, this chemical, I thought it was, laser stuff. Well, that too, but it's, I had brown paper, craft paper, and some other things, and it got saturated with some sort of chemical, and it would actually denature the thing, make it more stiff, and so by the second night, it's easier for them to make holes through the craft paper and some other layers, which I haven't seen before. And it's like sticky stuff, and it messes up the skin on us too. It makes it more weaker. But I was very surprised. I just wanted to share. On other surfaces, it makes it more weaker. Like we had some other cardboard and some other stuff that was hard, and it just made it just limp. It would just make it limp. And on top of that, they've been getting through. I've been trying different material, but I've been hit near where the bottom of the liver is, in the tummy. And I have a cut that's like 1 inch long. What's disturbing is, like everyone else, you could be heavily asleep, or with the frequency that knocks you out or whatever. But I put bandages and some other stuff on that wound, and I don't think I'm imagining it, but I find parts of the bandage disrupted, like someone pulled it off or something like that, which is disturbing. So at this point it seems more superficial, but I hope they don't keep attacking that. And then I got a little teeny laser cut on my face. So other than that, we're trying to do okay. Now, I'm not sure the sequence of this, but I wanted to just ask you, when you had I think it was one of the other calls to change codes, and I knew that your website had, a list of conference calls. So I went to your website, but it was after I just listened to one song, I don't know, on YouTube, and then I decided to go to your website. Well, I was there for 3 seconds, maybe about 30 seconds, and I was redirected somewhere else. And then I said, well, I'll try another conference call's website because they have main numbers. And then I was redirected there too. And then my flip phone crashed. And ever since then, some very funny things have been happening. So I'm sure that it must have been the YouTube thing that I hit or something. But has anyone else experienced that? No?
Yes, ma'am. Well, a lot of us get that same sort of stuff. The phones crashing and the bandages moving, and not everybody experiences the same thing. And as far as the chemicals are a part. Electronics are a part. We even have chemicals that are electrically activated. The chemical can be put in place and then activated by frequencies later or frequently for a period of time. So you're in the right ballpark. Many of us are experiencing the same thing.
Okay, well, as long as it's the ongoing thing. I wasn't sure if we were just, out there on our own, or I wasn't too sure what to do, so thank you for clarifying that. I mean, I know that getting a new phone doesn't solve the problem, but some of the things that's been going on, it's just been very, well, I guess you could get some humor out of it. It's like, oh, this and that, but
Kiko, if you can keep your phone clean, that's the best way. I don't mean on the outside. Get rid of your temporary internet files. They take up memory, and they just keep mounting up. If you have an iPhone, it's very easy to get rid of them. In fact, I'll run you through it. Just go to settings, go down to Safari, and let me see, settings, Safari, then get rid of website. Oh, I got to look at it myself now.
Oh, that's okay. I mean, when I call you, I'll ask you. I didn't mean to take up time on the call. I'm sorry. It's just that the last couple of days, it's just been one after another, and I'll tell you more when I talk to you. But anyway,
okay.
Thank you, and thank you, Richard. Thank you, Richard, for your input.
Yeah, thank you, Richard.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll mute myself to let everybody else talk. Thanks again, Frank.
Sure, no problem, Kiko.
Okay.
I see people exiting the call and coming right back. If you're getting knocked off, let me know, because I want to make Free Conference Call aware of it. Because this is usually a pretty solid platform, and if you're getting kicked off all the time, I definitely want to know. But keep your phones clean. That's the best way to ensure that you have the memory that you need to go on a conference call, because it takes a lot of memory to do it. I have to clean this computer once a day. And I mean clean it. Clean the whole thing inside and defrag it once a day, or I'm in trouble. The number of hits we take a day are like 30,000 hits a day on this computer. So it's very carefully shielded. It's wired, no Wi-Fi, strictly wired. And I have very good software, and I have a lot of knowledge as to what to keep clean. And anybody who wants to call, I'll share with you. Unless you have Linux. Most everyone has one of those, and I'll be more than happy to help you.
Thank you.
It sure was good to hear from Angie last week. I do hope she's doing okay. I was glad to hear her back, and hope to hear from her again soon.
Yeah, she's probably listening in, I hope. It's terrible to be in the situation she's in, because she's got a set of triplets plus 3 more. And one of the little girls is putting on too much weight. The second triplet is, I think, I guess pretty normal. And the other one, but they're all affected by this targeting. And it's hard for her to do her job, and she calls when she's at her wit's end with the targeting and the children. So she does have a nurse that comes in, but if you are in South Carolina, if you live in South Carolina, give me a call, and we'll see how close you are to Angie, so that you can get some help. Because we do have a situation where TIs are helping TIs, and it's really great to see.
Absolutely. And a lot of, she doesn't talk about it a lot, but her children are actually targeted. It's not just them having to live in a targeted situation. They're being targeted themselves. So that makes it even worse.
Yes, it does. And as I mentioned earlier, find a building with plenty of openings in it. In other words, like a hospital. An old hospital is great because it's got shower facilities in every room. And that's something you need. I've seen these up and running, and they work perfectly. So anytime you find something like this that's like for sale or being abandoned, lots of times they will give it to a charitable organization simply because they can actually write off the difference on their taxes, not really lose. Or if the city has it, they just want to see it put to good use. So look around, folks.
Yeah, I think she is in need of maybe a different place, and I think I'm kind of concerned because I think she's in a position where there's a guest that may be staying at her house that is also in a way abusive to her, which isn't helping. It's compounding the situation. So yeah, any people like to talk to or anything like that for her would help, I think.
Tracy, is she
Yes.
who is this guest? Is this the one that was supposed to help?
The one that what? Say again?
Is this guest the one that was supposed to help?
Yes, kind of, but it's turning out to be something else, and I have instinct or a bad feeling about her that she's being abusive towards Angie. And I think that dumping any more on Angie doesn't need to be done, whether it's, she's a guest. She does not live there. It's not her home. She does not rule the roost. She's a guest. And I think that's getting a little bit maybe taken advantage of and being very disrespectful towards Angie. So, but initially to help with the kids, because her hands are so full with that. But yeah, initially to help, I think, with the kids and cleaning and housework and that kind of a thing. But I wonder if it's more of a negative than a positive. But I kind of wanted to talk to you later too about that, Frank.
Okay.
What you thought? So, yeah.
Yeah, she needs someone solid to help her.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
South Carolina, I keep drawing zeros, coming up with zeros for people that will that are in the area. So we need to find more people in South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Not just for Angie, but just because the state is either the people aren't coming forward, or they're just, I don't know.
Frank, does she have any disabled children?
I don't believe they're disabled, but they're being targeted heavily. She has one child who is getting extremely overweight, and she's...
Yeah, that's a big part of targeting. It's a very big part of targeting.
I'd like to talk to her.
Sure. Oh, give me a buzz. Do you have my phone number? I think you do.
I used to, but
well, it's
not.
508. 508.
Well, is there any way you can give her my number?
Sure, not a problem.
She may not feel comfortable me taking hers. So I kind of rather her call me when she's comfortable, then she can give me hers.
Okay, that sounds good.
And it's good to talk. I think it's really important to talk to other people because part of them, as everybody well knows, that weakening us is isolation by isolating us.
I got about 15 TIs that I talk to weekly, and some of them are 2 to 3 times a day. Yeah. So, but did you give her my number, Frank? Because I know a good bit about children.
Okay, hold on a second.
Somebody's in the
I
background.
just want to make sure I have you. I don't think I have you listed as what's on the screen.
It's under Alexandria. Can you find it?
I'm coming up with zeros. Just call me and your number will register. I can see it right. Actually, I can see it right here if it's the same one.
Yes, 623.
Hold on 1 second. All right, go ahead.
Huh? I can't. What did you say?
He said, go ahead.
But I've got it all now. 440, 4416.
You got it. Okay, just ask her if she feel comfortable. I have a child, and I could kind of walk her through some stuff if she wants me to. Okay, I'm gonna mute.
Yeah, just imagine that times 6. God.
I know. It's difficult. It's very difficult, but I can help her through some stuff. When she's overwhelmed, I can be there for her. I can really be there for her. I know a lot about children and targeting now. Okay?
All right, good enough. Thank you, Constance.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we have so many people out there that need help, and she is definitely one of them. Okay, would somebody like to bring up a topic about targeting? It doesn't have to be. If it's about today, go ahead.
Sorry, Frank. I just wanted to say one more thing, that while it's important not to isolate yourself, because that's one of the things they use to tear us down, also, and make you really vulnerable, also be also not wary, but be when you're in a vulnerable position, as we are, be careful not to get re-victimized by people that don't have your best interests, whether it's TI or not a TI. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Tracy. I just wanted to run down the list. Hi, Scylla. I heard you last night on Ella's call. Hi, Jordan, Marty. Okay, I'm going to try this one more time. Gallium Miziana Nova. That's as close as I can get. And we've got D, Claudia, Anonymous, AZ Gal, ABC, J, Carolee. Nice speaking with you yesterday, Carolee. Jesse, I'd love to hear from you. Edith, Christine, word for you. Richard, Skip, tortured in Canada, love to hear from you. CPAL, Alan Goodridge, love to hear from you. Michael, Martha, Marcus, and Calgary, Gwen, Anonymous, Lily, hi Lily, hi Laura, hon, love to hear from you too. And Barbara, Felicia, Miss Delso, Anonymous, Joe, Deb, Tracy, Constance, Brandon. Oh, we've got quite a crew tonight. Wide-Eyed, Sets, Nancy, Reno, Nevada, MTC1 Racer. And I can never pronounce this one, but it's Demethi. Well, we'll just let that one go. Peter, Sue, North Georgia, Atlanta, Michael, and AZ Girl in again. Okay, so we've got a great crew of people here tonight. And I've heard that Jesse was in trouble and needed some help. And if he'd come forward, I'd love to hear him speak. I understand that was on Neil's call. I'm just hearing about this. So, Jesse, if you'd like to come forward and speak, that's fine. If you don't, that'll have to be fine too. Okay, we need some people to speak.
Sorry, Frank, I was eating pancakes.
Well, that's good.
Trying to have a normal night. And I walked away from the phone for a minute when you were talking. I didn't quite hear everything you said, but...
Okay, I heard that on Sunday night you were having a problem. That's what I heard.
Oh, yeah, I ended up in the hospital.
Okay.
I want to go through the whole story again, but that's why I called you that night a couple of times.
Okay.
And I finally got a hold of Ella.
That's great.
And I'm half losing my voice. I'm just trying to get it back, but it was my first fun experience of being in the hospital in the emergency room and getting hit by a visible, some kind of, I don't know what it was, microwave directed energy weapon. I could see the ripples in front of my feet while I'm laying on the table in a gown. I see this energy field moving up my body, starting with my feet. And then I'd feel the muscle contractions. And it was time for me to go. So, like I said, I don't want to get into the whole story again. I'm just still trying to recover from the whole weekend. And that's about where that was almost the ending. But luckily I had some friends around me at the time who are not targets, who do not understand any of this kind of stuff. And so, yeah.
The closest I've come to that is I've seen a HARP signature on my, I guess it was my laptop at the time. And this is when I lived in another part of the state. And it was quite visible, if you're familiar with the HARP signature.
I don't know what it looks like.
Yeah, well, it's centered around your area, not specific to your actual address. But in this particular instance, it came from the corner of the screen and worked its way down the screen. And it's the only time I've ever been able to capture, but I knew it was HARP because of the way it looked. It's hard to explain, but I've looked at the image so many times in other areas, I knew what it was right away.
Yeah. So what this looked like, it was like it was like kind of in a circular pattern, like it like if you were in a MRI or a CAT scan tube, and but there's no tube, but you can see like you can actually see the air rippling like water bubbles, so to speak, and where the air is disturbed. And I was looking at it, and I thought, what the heck am I looking at? And then it just started moving up my legs, slowly moving up my body, and then when it hit my shins and my calves, my calves started to jerk. My muscles started to contract. And I'm like, oh my God, I know what that is. And you know what it was for me. It was a warning to stay in line, or it's going to get worse. So I did get a hold of Ella on the phone, Ella Free, and the signal was not that great in the hospital, but I made sure and call. I got Ella on the phone while the emergency room doctor was in the room, and I explained to him, we give doctors limited information because we don't trust you, because you'll either misuse the information, misinterpret it, misdiagnose. We've already lost, I don't know how many whistleblowers, 3 whistleblowers in the last year in TIs. And so I just want you to diagnose one thing. That's it. And I'm out of here, which is exactly what happened. But that doctor was, when you're in a paranoid state like that, which I was, it's hard to know for sure. But, at one point, a doctor can't even have a bedside manner if he doesn't stand by your bed. He stands in front of it, far away. But this guy, he's like, I'd like to know more about that whistleblowing thing. And he kind of tilts his head like a snicker. And he's wearing a mask, so I can't really see his full expression, but it just didn't feel right.
Leave whistleblower out of it, and he'll think you're government, and he'll treat you like gold.
We know each other. It's a small town.
I see.
It's shocking that, it happened in my small town where everybody knows everybody. So I don't know if he was aware of it or not, but I certainly did switch demeanors after that happened, and I had, IVs and stuff going in my arm. I'm in a gown, and I couldn't just get up and walk out. I had to allow them to pull them out, and my ride came and picked me up and took me home. But it was that's certainly not all the story, but that's I guess the pinnacle of the story.
Well, you sound a little better, Jesse, than you did. You're calmer, at least calmed down some. Best I can come up with these waves that other people are seeing, including myself, is it has something to do with radio wave, the way it travels and the way it moves. And, well, the fact that you can see it is a little strange, but I've got quite a few other TIs that are claiming they can see these waves, and we're going to work on it. It
was very visible, and I could see the line. When it hit my gown, I could see the line on the gown, like a dark line going up my body.
Yep.
I'd never seen anything like it.
Yep. You hang in there, Mr. Call.
I'm recovering. I appreciate that, Richard and Frank.
Hey, Jesse, it's Sue.
Hi, Sue.
How are you feeling? I missed a little bit of what you were saying. I tried to text you.
Yeah, basically I was hit with some kind of a microwave-directed energy weapon while in the emergency room, laying on the table, laying on the bed in a gown.
Oh, yeah, I remember that from Monday. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Yeah.
And I didn't go through my whole story. I don't have the energy to do that. But yeah, if you were there on Monday, You heard it all.
Yeah, I heard that one. Uh-huh. Are you doing any kind of shielding? Or what kind of countermeasures are you? Yeah.
I haven't had to do anything like that. I really hope I don't have to. I've been hit with maybe a different kind of weapon than anybody else in the community. I've never heard of it before, but so I get the high-pitched squeal in my head, like the remote neural monitoring stuff, tinnitus type sound. I also get a really deep, low-level hum that I hear wherever I go, no matter where I'm at, and I've heard
I get that. Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
I think they call it the Taos hum.
What the Taos hum?
Yeah.
Yeah,
what do they
didn't start that. Well, it's a separate.
Low pitch hum is.
It's a separate thing. Yeah. This low vibration.
This low pitch hum is something I've been having a real problem with too. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Sue. Okay.
So there's two things that I found that break that up. One is a fan, or multiple fans. If they do it to you in different rooms, just run the fan. And if you have a heater with a fan, that helps. And another thing is I use an amplifier that I just leave on, and when it has I don't know if you know about musical instruments, but if you leave the amp on with no sound, it just makes a hum. But that particular sound seems to break up the other sound, and they're probably relatively similar in frequency, so it seems to kind of knock it out.
Yeah, and so, I've gotten used to the fact that the Taos hum, if that's what it is, that really low pitch, that's always been kind of a grounding, like it makes me feel safe, actually. Maybe the opposite of some other people, but it's always kind of been like that. I can hear it really loud right now in my basement. And it'll change pitches. It'll go really low, and then it'll intensify and boost up a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's not just a sound; it's a deep, vibration too, as you probably know.
Yeah, I have that. So, but I know they change that, but if they modulate that, it's in the 60 hertz range. Sometimes it's 58, 59, 62. And it's meant to aggravate you or cause you anger, but it can also it can slow you down if you're getting a lot of high pitched stuff. So it'll bring you down from that, which may feel grounding to you.
Yeah, and mine will range even below 20 hertz, really, really low, below the hearing normal human level. So it doesn't seem to. Maybe I'm just used to it, and I don't. Maybe with some of my training, my heart math training, I've learned to integrate it. It's hard to know. It's hard to know, but I appreciate that.
Yeah. I would suggest that you start collecting different things. Like you were also getting visuals. So you might need some countermeasures for the visuals. If they're not going away through prayer, then they're not really spirits. They're more technology. So you need technological countermeasures for those. And I was thinking for visuals to use flashlights or bright lights to disturb the holograms.
It's a good idea. Yeah, and I haven't had the hologram stuff, or whatever that was, return since then. House has been peaceful since I got home from the hospital, and it almost it was like a crushing blow within a few days. And everything's been, somewhat back to normal since I got back home.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sue, that's a great idea about the fans, and everybody asks me why I have fans running all winter long. Well, one of the theories behind that is the AC motor is 60 hertz, So that's going to cancel out that 60 hertz that you're hearing. The other is the fact that the blade, it's real easy to understand. If you look at a big truck and you see the tire moving, it looks like it's moving very slow. But if you see a car right next to it, the tire is really moving incredibly fast. Well, if you look at your fan blade, the outside of it is moving slower than the center. The center is moving faster, naturally. So the frequency of the blade from the outside to the inside changes. So it's like a massive static machine, and it's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, I think it also works just because acoustics rely on airwaves, and you running a fan, you're pushing the airwaves, in a chaotic manner so that the sound is not as audible.
Yeah,
good
and
point.
I certainly had the V2K along with the holographic people that were in my house. It was off the charts. I've never, like I said, experienced anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're targeting things, Jesse.
Say that again, Frank.
I said your targeting has appeared to have changed and getting more severe.
It was a warning not to say too much too often to the wrong people.
Uh-huh.
Hey, Frank?
Yes, sir.
Frank?
Yes, sir.
That low-pitch hum thing is something that's been really driving me insane for a long time now. I'm wondering, you talk to a lot of people in the community. How common is it to have that as one of the things that's being done to them?
Okay, it's not. It seems to be something that is West Coast or like around Arizona. So Sue is familiar with it. Jesse is familiar with it. I'll let Sue speak to you on that because I don't get that particular low-pitched hum. So
well, it's just a new thing for me also. I mean, the last 2 months or so. I think it's designed to just aggravate you because on my spectrum analyzer, it just shows up as like in the 58 to 60.
Yeah, which is
62.
like house current. House current runs at 60 hertz, so that's probably it would stand to reason that it's in that range.
Well, I don't always get that. When I'm hearing it and I turn on a meter, that's what so maybe they're using the house current to do it, because if it is related to the house current, but I don't know how it's done. I just know when I'm hearing it, and I know that fans break it up. So that's a simple kind of measure for that.
Yeah,
I know for me, when I go anywhere in the United States, anywhere outside the United States, anywhere in the desert, in a hotel, anywhere, I hear it.
Wow.
Okay, so now you know what you need to do.
I only hear it when I'm inside the apartment, and when I try and record it, there's no such sound. It's like it's only in my ears and nowhere else.
Right. Yeah, and probably dogs can hear it, cats, and anybody who's been entrained to it.
But I can't record it. If I try to put a recording device up right where it seems to be the loudest, it doesn't record anything.
Okay.
And that's exactly what the researchers came up with. I can't remember what they said, how they verified that it was real, but no sound recorder could pick it up.
And it's probably because recorders are designed to pick up a certain range of frequencies, and this is below that range.
That's one possibility.
If you go to an audiologist, you will find that you may learn, as I have. The audiologist told me that the 5 most upper regions of my hearing were occupied.
Interesting.
And then she put her hand over her mouth. But this audiologist was very thorough. It took 2 hours and 20 minutes for her to complete this analysis. And that, when she completed it, that's what she said.
Occupied?
Yeah.
Occupied, yep, that's correct. Occupied. That means there is something going on in that category.
Region, yeah.
And she probably heard the V2K. That's the part that really baffles me. There are different versions of what V2K sounds like. Some people will tell you that outsiders have recorded this, or TIs have made it available, and to a layperson, it sounds like a lot of different sounds with creepy voices like you would hear on a ghost tape. And your voice that you hear is somewhere in there, but to a layperson, it sounds totally different. That's what I've got a video, I think, that will tell that story. Sue, you've got a lot of really good points on that. And Jesse, you too. And I hope you elaborate on it, and just tell me to shut up if I interrupt you too much. But
No, it's fine. I mean, I just got on a little while ago again. I was in, got tired of the news and, all of that. So I think the game is that they want to keep changing it up. If you find a countermeasure for something, they're going to try something else. So I've been pretty vigilant about finding shielding and countermeasures for a lot of my targeting. And then so they changed it. They added this low humming sound a couple months ago. And then it took me about a week or so. I figured out how to block it. But when I stop those countermeasures, then they bring it back, So it's a cat and mouse game, really. What they're going to do and what I'm going to counter with, and then they try something else. And if they don't like what I'm doing, then they try it more, or they repeat themselves. So I'm just tired of it, really. I mean, so stupid at this point.
Sue, could you give your website or contact website, I guess, right? Because Sue is I would call her a counselor, and she can elaborate on it from there. But she is very, very good. And
I put it in the chat.
Yeah.
I put in my spiritual warfare page on the chat.
Okay, so thank you.
There's some audio there, and all the rest of the links are available. But yeah, I'm a counselor. Been a counselor for a long time, and I mean, I'm not really. I don't have my office anymore. But I have training in it.
Well, the important part you brought with you.
Yeah, everything. You know what I realized the last 10 years or so is everything that I was trained in before has been helpful now. Like energy work, hypnosis training, psychology, physics, all the things I studied in college and grad school and certification, everything I learned has been helpful in helping me, figure it out, what to do, how to survive, maintain psychological warfare. And it's almost like I really feel blessed that God sent me on the path that He did to prepare me. And, I just don't know how else to say it. I feel like I was really made for this. and probably that's why they targeted me as well, because they said, okay, look at these skills. Let's see what we can bounce off of her, you know. Let's see what works, what doesn't work, you know.
You're absolutely correct. Go ahead, Jesse.
Do you have a phone number on your website? Try and get a hold of you.
Yeah, the number I give out publicly is 575-425-0770.
What was the first 575?
Correct. 425-0770. It's a New Mexico number.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Sure. And the spiritual warfare aspects of what we're going through. I feel really blessed to have lots and lots of training in that, and advancing my skills, and because it's necessary. I mean, I probably would not have gotten as far as I did if they had left me alone for the last 20 years. I probably would not have gotten as advanced in it as I am now, because it wouldn't have been necessary. Now it's a daily practice. Every single day, morning to night, all day long. Lots of Zen training, lots of letting go, staying in the moment.
Yes. Staying in the moment is important. And what I've noticed with the perps is time is an element that can change. And on my website, I have posted the address of, it's not a local organization, but they are organized for the purpose of the regulation of time. They are Resilient Navigation and Timing Foundation. So they are like the source of atomic time or monitoring of. And the perps seem to be able to change all this or make you think that they are. So it's something to learn.
I also think that it's also important to be as strong independently as you can, because I think that the system or they want you to be as dependent on them as much as possible. And the more independent you are and self-fortified in strength, whether it's spiritual or whatever fortifies you and strengthens you and makes you independent from them, it gives them less ability to have control over you. So the more you strengthen yourself, the more it actually helps cut that connection with them in a way, so to speak.
Thanks, Tracy. Tracy and so many others are some of the most heavily targeted people that exist, until somebody comes up and tells us what they're all about. And I know who is really slammed hard, but I don't know if you don't tell me. So if you can call me, that's great. And I don't mind.
Hey, Frank?
Yes, sir.
I just got kicked off the call.
Okay.
On, just so you know.
Yeah, all right, thank you. I'm trying to find the reason for that. I'd like you to examine your own equipment and make sure that you've got a really solid connection, and that the computer, or in your case it looks like computer, is very clean.
Yeah, I just got cut off and had to come back. I don't know what sentence I was speaking. So I just called in on the phone.
All right, go ahead.
I don't remember what I was saying. I don't remember where I got cut off because
you were just getting into spiritual healing and training, right?
Yeah. So kind of hard for me to backtrack there, but yeah.
Well, you were trying to get at the fact that you wouldn't have been where you are had you not gone through all the stuff you have in the last 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was thinking how today, how much of a good training it is for staying in the moment. Did I get that across to you? That not dwelling on the past and not projecting into the future, but really staying in aware and a still point of awareness, so that you're very, very clear in your mind, and you're clear in your energy fields. And that I was trying to express is a priceless training that you cannot, like if you said to somebody, I'm going to sell you meditation, well, yeah, you might try to, but you wouldn't get people to be as focused and to see the value of being that focused until you're in a situation like this, where it's psychological warfare every day, and you need that clarity to get through. How necessary it is to have that still point to go to, where you can say, I can discern between the truth and the lies in this situation. But more than that is not worrying about the past and not worrying about the future, but just staying present always in at each step of the way.
I agree.
Totally agree as well. In fact, it looks like I need to clean my house presently. It's a mess.
Yeah, physical cleansing is helpful too. And, once you get through that, then it's just upkeep, little things. Sometimes when they're starting up another round of attacks, I'll just go wash dishes or wash laundry or something simple that takes no brains, just to occupy the moment. And they don't like you to be happy, of course. They'll try to take you off of that. That's why the holidays are so hard. I think they just don't want you to be happy. And in fact, it seems like they're afraid of it. Like they're afraid of love. They're afraid of contentment, satisfaction. They live in a greedy, hungry, competitive world where everything is a fight. So they can never understand what it means to be
content,
just at peace.
Or content?
Yeah.
They don't like that when we're content, especially when we are content in spite of what they're doing.
Yeah. I think it's really hard for them to understand, how can you have the peace of God? Like, where does that come from? Right?
Him. It comes from God. We can't manifest that inside of ourselves. It only comes from God.
And the Holy Spirit. That's the
correct.
connection. Yeah.
I so appreciate what you shared. I tuned in late and I heard you talking and I was just like, wow. Because I think once you've dealt with your own demons, they have nothing to work with.
Yeah.
That's right. You hit it.
That's right. They have nothing to work with.
They can't lay a guilt trip on you. That's their favorite thing to do, is guilt trips.
Or shame. Guilt says what you did was wrong. Shame says who you are is wrong. And it's a lie from the pit.
Right.
And they try to get you from the depths of your soul to try to take it away from you and replace it with their soulless, crap. And it's just, it can't be done. They just can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was so looking for Sue the other night to say a prayer because everything was going awry, and this was, I think, New Year's Day evening. And I was hoping for her to come by.
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. There'll be a next time. Oh, speaking of prayer.
Well, you can always go straight to God yourself. You don't need somebody else to pray for you. Wherever you are, if you're sitting on a rock, or if you're in your car, or you're in bed, you try to go as high in your mind as you can and call on Him. Just say His name.
You can just call on Him. His word says that He will hear you. He sits on His throne and looks back and forth over the sons of men, and for political correctness, women as well. The Bible wasn't gender specific because of the time in which it was written, but He watches and He waits for us to call for Him for help because He loves us.
And when two or more are gathered in His name, then it becomes even more powerful.
That's right.
And more, yeah.
I so like hearing that because with that comes the unity.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm never going to say, no more religion on the call. Just, I think it's great to have it on the call.
Yeah. I think spiritual is an important part of battling the whole thing,
It's one way of, you can say that it's separate, but it's not really separate from our targeting. It's another level of it. Because I think they're trying to control our spirituality, but more than that, they want to use it like a Jacob's ladder to God. It seems like the perps that are around me, they're really interested in my connection, and they want to know how can they control that, And how
can they do it? They want to learn from you, so you can't reveal that. Either that, or I don't think they can get at it, maybe. But they sure can learn.
Well, the answer to the question that they're having is, well, why don't you go ask Him yourself? Like, why do you need to go through me or anybody else who has a connection with God? Why don't you just ask Him and make your connection with Him directly? Because that's what He wants. That's what God wants. And that would be the easiest way to do it. But I don't think they want the connection with God. They want to own Him. So they think
it's something. Yeah, it's something much more deviant,
demonic,
and self-serving. there's an evil motive behind it, and that's how even more it will never happen for them. And anytime, anytime anything is or anyone is God complexed, and I don't mean be religious because I tend to think of myself as more spiritual than religious doctrine. Like, no matter how many times you count this one thing, it means you're going to hell or not, or that kind of thing. I think that, it says through the Son to the Father, and that's it. Anything that's God complex or false idol type of thing, and you can see it when people. It happens to people, their egos get huge, they start getting God complex, and sociopaths and psychopaths, that's typical behavior. They're self-worshippers, and they always get taken out. They always fall every time. So they're defeated before they even begin what they're trying to do. Or steal our souls, our minds, our speech, our feelings, and to me, those are God-given. Those were given to me by God, not a technology being or anyone or anything else. But it's a power tripping, like, get high off, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I think they have levels that they go by, that they graduate, and they're in whatever hierarchy they have of this stuff, and I don't know what it is or how they do it or what it's called, but I've heard that they try to do that to know more so that they can be. But, there's always another hoop. It's a false sense of security what they're doing to people.
Can I add something
hoop
to this? It's about,
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, this is about mind control, and mind control is Luciferian driven based. This is a satanic force, and it is a government program, and there's actually a procedure. There's a procedure manual put out for the CIA regarding MK Ultra. The monarch and mind control, and there are different levels. There's a procedure, first of all, on how to find the victim, who is a proper victim, and I can send this over to Frank. And I'm like at the max because I'm suffering from cadmium poisoning and now arsenic. But there's different levels of it that they take you to. It's a full program. And everything that all of you are saying is absolutely correct. And the only way out of it is God. It's your only. I've been dealing with it. It's your only protection, and they hate that. And the closer you get to God, the harder they will come at you.
Yeah,
which is fine.
Yeah,
I'd rather be on the losing side of this and be on God's team.
Me too.
Because it's a win. Then get them to lighten up on me and so-called win, because I would rather be alive with God and dead with them any day.
Yep.
Any day.
And could I add something to that as well? Because, like you said, you'd rather be on the losing team, or what seems to be the losing team, because really this demonic stuff, the enemy has been defeated. He was defeated at the cross. He lost at the cross. However, it only seems to be a losing team. And that's because somebody already died for us. Think about that. Somebody already died for us so that we could live through this. And another point is that even though this is happening, and I prayed so hard sometimes because it's been so awful, to make it stop, it's still happening, which tells me, because God's Word says, nothing touches me unless it goes through His permissive will. He's doing some sifting. He's sifting the wheat from the tares. You hang in there. You trust him. He's with us.
You know, I was on Ella's call last evening. Hi, Tracy. I'll give you the floor in a second.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Frank. Sorry.
Someone was asking, okay, I just got wiped right out. I don't know why, but I did. Go ahead, Tracy.
Oh, it's okay. Go ahead. I forgot what I was going to say. It's all right, though. Go ahead.
No, that's what happened to me. I got wiped.
I know, right?
You mean you forgot what you were going to say?
Oh, yeah.
Somebody was asking a question last night on her call, and what?
Yeah.
And then that was it.
It was snatched. They do that.
Oh.
I call it dampening now. You have a thought, you have words ready to say, and they say in the V2K they'll say kiss that goodbye, and they'll take it and tell you.
All right,
well,
it'll come back.
I've been told if you're good, we'll give it back to you. We'll give your thought back to you. And laugh. I just ignore it because they're not worth my time, and they're not worth my brain space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't ever fight it, because if you fight it, it'll just use up your energy, like you said, and it'll put you in a bad frame of mind, because you are fighting against someone that you have already beaten. But speaking of religious engagements, on the 20th, the Allen Institute is hosting Dr. Millicent Black for the candle lighting ceremony.
Oh, okay.
And that's still us. So that'll be on
awesome.
Yeah, I think we didn't do it last year. I think Ella may have done it. And this year, it's coming back to us.
I think we did multiple ceremonies, because last year we lost Linda Costanzo and Melinda Fee within a month of each other. And didn't we do a candle ceremony for them in about that time?
Ella did on
I thought
show.
we did one here. No.
Yeah,
no.
we did. I did a radio show, and I think we did something here.
Yeah. Wow.
I'll make that radio show available. But it's right. It's at our YouTube channel, and it's not just Targeted Massachusetts. It's YouTube.com/C/Targeted Massachusetts.
Okay.
The episode's there, and the roundtable discussion on radio is there, and Linda is, you can find Linda on that too. She stays throughout the whole radio show.
Mm-hmm. I miss her voice. I miss her.
Yeah,
she's in a better place now.
I know.
She's not suffering anymore.
I know. She was such an encouragement to me. And many others I know.
Mm-hmm. And Kim, and who else did we lose last year?
Does anybody know what happened to Melissa?
I don't know. Melissa from Georgia.
Yeah, I just, all of a sudden, I just could never get a hold of her, and I didn't hear from her, so I just wondered if anyone knew what happened.
I think she is dealing with an alcohol problem, because she came on radio the last two times inebriated. So I think she is dealing with that. And she's probably dealing with her sister still, and she's probably dealing with I hope not, but she may be dealing with a state hospital again and has not been able to get in touch with us.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I was worried about her. Still am, but she was one of the ones that they actually came and yanked her, hogtied her, and put her in the back of a police car when she wasn't doing anything. She was just standing there. And she also had several people, they were chasing her and screaming and yelling they were going to rape her and were following her and shooting off guns. And she went off a dirt road and then got out on foot and hid behind a bush. And they kept shooting guns and screaming and yelling that they were going to kill her and rape her. And as soon as they found where she was, they looked at her, turned around silently, and walked off. Not one more peep out of them. So I'm sure they were watching her vital signs to try to see. That's just was one of the most horrifying stories I've heard. I couldn't believe it when she told me that. But hopefully she's still alive and okay.
I have a phone number. Dig it up.
I'm sorry. I would love to stay up and hear you guys. I have to go to bed. This is Deb in St. Louis, but I need to go to bed because I have to get up for work. I have so enjoyed this last 15 minutes.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah.
And I will try and tune in on Friday. Are you guys still doing it on Friday?
Friday, yep. And we're co-hosting with Ella on Saturday. We usually take the last hour. And we'll see you then. Friday.
Right. Thanks, you guys.
Good night.
Bye-bye. Good night.
Okay, bye.
Okay, I'm going to take a second to see if I can find Melissa's phone number so that I can make it available to you guys.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, they had were dealing with some of them that were threatening to put her and her family in a mental hospital, and she told me that they had put 5 people in the same neighborhood to the same mental hospital. 5. So,
wow.
Yeah.
The last phone number I have is 706-273-4040.
Can you repeat the last 4, please?
Sure. 4040.
That's easy. Okay, thank you. 706. Thanks, Frank.
Sure. Okay, we have 43 people here, and we'll have more with the California 9 o'clock rush, probably. So,
all the late night people are from the West Coast.
Yeah, but they go to bed early too. They go to. They're from California.
Yeah, it's so early. I mean, it's 8:30 over there right now, so 9:30 here Mountain Time.
Yeah. Now, do you go to switch times in the fall?
No, we don't.
Okay.
But yeah, we pretty much stay the same. But Mountain Time is actually 2 Mountain Times. There's Mountain Time Arizona, which stays the same, and the other Mountain Times change. So it's a little confusing. And it's actually more confusing for me because I have to figure out what everybody else's time zone is that keeps changing.
Yeah, it's sad out here because on the East Coast at 4 o'clock, bang, it's dark. 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So If you're from here,
yeah, I know. It's in the morning. See, they really should change it. I mean, I don't know. They started around times of farming, so there would be a longer work day. But I think they should just go back. Just leave the clocks the way they are, and everybody will adjust. I remember getting up freezing, dark in the morning to go to the bus stop because they had changed the clocks. So now we're standing in the dark and the cold, waiting for the bus. That didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, and believe it or not, a lot of the farmers didn't like it, and they probably still don't. The ones that are still around as a family-owned farm, that's become a thing of the past, too, unfortunately. Okay, I've got Melissa's phone number. I'm going to throw it in the chat in case there's anybody that would like to get in touch with her. Okay, it's 706-273-4040.
What state was she from, do you know?
Yeah, she's from Georgia. Yeah, her husband got put into an institution. Then she got put into an institution. And this was all at that time because of her sister. So I don't know what the situation is with her sister now.
Yeah, and her mother, too.
Okay,
yeah. Both of them, yeah.
Hi, Scylla. Scylla's still here. We haven't heard from her. Yeah, she is here. I don't know why we haven't heard from her.
Yeah, it was like there were 50 people, and then a bunch of us got cut off, I think.
Yeah.
And then we had to call back in.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
It's funny, we're still here, though.
We're still
Some
here.
people actually get the message that the call has ended, and so they don't call back. Some people have gotten that message.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Sue, you want to bring up another topic, or?
I'm thinking, I'm sort of, yeah, I would, if something was burning in me, speak about. I'm not sure right now.
Okay, well then.
There's a question. If somebody has a question, that would steer it somehow. I guess not. Guess there aren't any questions. Everybody's perfect.
Well, everybody is probably thinking about the country right now. The country, the virus. It silences a lot of people that normally would talk. And but everybody's welcome. I like to see everybody get a chance to talk that wants to. And if you want to just listen, that's great too.
Yeah. It's been quiet since the whole night has been a kind of quiet call.
Yeah, it's a lot of people that are new listen. I remember when I was brand new, I just listened for the longest time, and I wouldn't say one, because I could not believe that there were so many other people afflicted with this. And that was like 50 or 60 people or more on a conference call. And I thought that was it, and I thought that was a lot. Then I found out how many there really are, and I was amazed.
Yeah. Well, I knew at some point when it seemed like it was just me, right? Planes and everybody following me across the country. I said, they don't do science like this. This science, when it's really done right, uses multiple subjects and multiple control subjects to get a result. So there are others.
Go ahead, unmute. Is that you, Sue?
Yeah, this is me. I'm anonymous.
It was moving so fast I hit you by accident.
Oh, okay. I can't unmute when the host does it, so. But anyway, I was just saying that when, there had to be, I knew there had to be multiple subjects because this is too big and too far wide. I said, there's got to be more people like me out there. I just didn't know where they were. I didn't know how to find them until I got online with the research. And then I found the calls. And I was thinking, yep, I was right. I knew there were others out there. I could feel them. In fact, there was a couple of times where I had a couple of visions of other TIs that I didn't know. I had a vision one time of a guy who was wearing an overcoat and he was walking by himself along a railway. And I knew he was beat up, and I knew he was one of the group, I don't remember who he is. I didn't find out who he was. But I just knew that there was another one like me out there. And there were probably others.
Yeah, I'd like to encourage everybody to visit Sue's site. And Jesse is also promoting his heart math, and we'd like to help him get noticed. And I understand he's got a conference call that we were going to post, and everything hit the fan, and that was it. I still got that on my mind.
Oh, he was going to have a heart math call? I must have missed that.
We'll do that.
Let's do it. Let's do that. Yeah. What night was that going to be? Like a Tuesday or Thursday night would be really good if you can do those. Because we don't have a late night call.
Well, whichever, either on Frank's or Ella Free's call. Frank's the one that brought me in.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
the reason I say Tuesdays or Thursdays, because Ella ends her calls pretty early, and then there's this big space after.
Yeah, she ends her call at 11. You could start at 11 and pick up the late night traffic all the way till 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 in the morning. You'd have quite a gathering, actually, especially people interested in that one particular topic.
Definitely.
I don't want to see you disturb Ella's call itself.
No, No, I meant after. I meant after hers.
I know, 11 o'clock. Well, before it. You can go before it.
Yeah, that too.
Kate Ryan's call was at 7 o'clock, and she is not doing her call for reasons I have yet to find out, but I've got an idea, And so she's not doing her call. So that's a good time slot because a lot of people are looking for Kate Ryan's call. I can help you get noticed, Jesse. I'll get some.
Great. Before it'd be better for me after work in the mornings, but most mornings.
Okay, yeah. So, but that's 11 o'clock Eastern he's talking about, not Wyoming time.
Yeah, that's true. We could do it at 9, and that way people would already be on. It'd be a matter of announcing it, and then whoever the moderator is going to be, like on your call format, Frank, would be really ideal, or whoever. I just don't have a call, and I really don't want to get one yet.
Okay.
Doesn't mean I wouldn't in the future. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, we can set aside an hour ahead of ours if you want. We could do something like that. We're usually running videos from 8 to 9. But, we'll work something out. Just get in touch with Sue, get in touch with me, and we'll find you a spot.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, is there a reason why you don't want to set up a free conference call or an account? Is it for privacy, or what would that
No,
be?
it's just I don't want to have a regular call. I'm not. That's just not me. Yeah. That's all.
See.
Now, if we got a movement going, and we got enough people that we wanted to just do that for, a certain period of time, once a week or something like that. That for me, it would be. I like getting on calls and listening to people and talking and telling someone about my story, which is pretty. It's a pretty incredible story. But my focus really, I'm wanting to be on healing.
Right. That's good.
Because I need more healing. We all do.
Yeah, we need healing.
So I've sort of thought of a foolproof plan. Can you guys hear me?
Sure, go ahead.
So my plan was this. I realized that exposing this thing is really, really tough. And I think we've all learned that in the past however many years. But I've sort of thought of a way to expose this. And the way that I suggest that we expose this is by doing it. We can literally set up, on this call itself, we've got 44 people who, I don't know how many of you have the energy to get out of bed in the morning, but for those who do, we have 44 people here, and we can surveillance or the gangstalkers. Best case scenario is that we let them know that we're all banded together. And worst is that we get caught. And if we get caught, then this will be reported on, and we can start to help stop it. We can go to police and be like, hey, you've seen a story about these people that were quote unquote gang stalking. Why don't we? I think that a similar thing's happening to me. Can you help stop it? So if we become
Keep cutting out, AJ.
Become like a group, show them that we're a fighting force, and basically be, just be strong in the face of, a crazy situation, or if this is illegal, and I'm not sure it is, then we can get caught and we can expose the program.
Well, what happens usually is you do get caught, and the gang stalkers don't. But we've been gang stalkers for probably about 5 years now. And just last week, we had a really good time last Wednesday night. But if you get yourself entangled, usually the cops are not going to look at them or what they're doing. They're going to look at you. Even something as simple as pulled up to a stop sign and was going to get out of my vehicle to approach the vehicle behind me. The guy backs up, pulls his gun in one hand and his phone in the other hand, calls the cop, says I was trying to block him in. And, of course, they didn't pay any mind to me.
A little bit deeper.
Well, I just told him I was lost. I wanted to know where Walmart was. But anyway, just thought I'd let you know that. Be careful.
Well, listen, Frank, I'll be in touch with you and Sue. I got to get to bed so I can get up in the morning.
Okay, Jesse. I'll be here, and you know how to get in touch with Sue, and we'll go from there.
Sounds
okay,
good.
Jess.
Thanks, you guys.
Hope you feel better.
Yeah.
Me too. Feeling better already. Appreciate you guys.
Good.
Bye.
Good night.
No. Yeah, I think he's getting hit with a lot of paranoia. And that can be very, very, very terrible to go through. And Jesse gets to a point where he can't handle it anymore, and his first reaction is to jump off the call. So I hope we can help him.
We got him, Frank.
Okay. Okay, mic's open. Anybody that would like to speak?
Oh, there was a woman on.
Sorry,
I
I couldn't hear you guys. It got cut off.
Cut off again.
What's Sue?
Hi, are you guys there? Did you hear my idea?
Yeah, can you hold on until Sue finishes? Thanks, Aiden.
We can hear you, but you keep cutting out.
All right, let me try to dial in.
Huh?
He's going to try and dial in. See,
okay, yeah.
Go ahead.
Anyway, there was a woman on, excuse me, there was a woman on Sunday night. She was talking about a very interesting topic, and then she got cut off. And I don't know if she came back or if she knows about your calls. And I didn't catch her name, but she's another healer. So I'm hoping she can hear my voice and come back again, try starting up that conversation again. She was talking about AI and how AI pretends to be spiritual guides, you know, like angels or God's voice or something. And it was...
might have been Lily.
No, it wasn't Lily. It was not Lily. Somebody who's a genuine healer that has a lot of experience. And
yeah, I didn't catch her name, but she was talking about Sunday night about the density, measuring the density of the soul.
Yes.
And the taking
that's the
of
same
the
one, right? Yeah. And then she got cut off, so then it must have been important. And I'm still waiting. Hmm?
I said, yeah, it must have been. That's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys hear about that guy in Nashville?
What?
The guy who was in a motor their home.
Obama?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
Nashville.
Obama.
Yeah. Everybody heard about that.
You guys know if he was a TI?
I think he was. He seemed like it. I mean, he chose the AT&T building for some reason. Technology.
And he was
files.
He was coherent enough to play the song Downtown. You know, that song from, I don't know, the 1950s, Downtown, 10 minutes before the bomb went off. That's kind of how they traced him. So it was in a way, it was a good a godsend for them to be able to trace this for something.
Well, I think they registered I think his plates were registered, and so that wasn't too hard for them.
Yeah, it reminds me way too much of Tim McVeigh, although the Oklahoma City bombing building with all the women and children is no comparison, but a little too creepy, too close to Tim McVeigh-ish stuff.
It's too bad that he had to choose Christmas to do that. I mean, if he was a TI, why would he choose that? Maybe he was hoping nobody would be around.
For revenge,
or nobody knows him personally?
Hmm?
I said nobody knew him personally.
People knew him. He had a girlfriend. Yeah.
I'm saying, like, nobody in this call or in this group or...
Oh, in this call? Oh, no, I don't know. I don't know if anybody did.
What's that? I just got back.
The guy from Nashville who blew up his RV on Christmas. We think he's a TI. Did anybody know him? That's the question.
Oh, well, that remains to be seen. We can find out.
Yeah. If he did connect with anybody in the groups, I think somebody would have said.
Yeah, I think for sure.
The other thing that I wanted to do was get back to my idea about gang-stalking gang-stalkers. There was a guy here that said that he had tried it, and well, I think just by doing it with one person and getting out of your car, like doing some physical stuff, I think that may have been too kinetic. I think like we would have to do some more subtle psychological stuff, like like the 10 red cars in a row or something like that. I mean, we know the strategies that they use on us. So we can
I'll be right back.
easily use the same strategies on them.
I'm going to make some...
Go ahead. Yeah, I think it's been tried, and I'm not the person. Maybe there's somebody else out there who wants to share about that. I know Richard has tried to reverse on his stalkers. Richard, do you want to share something about that?
Yeah, I'm the one that spoke up a while ago and said that, but you misunderstand. I was by myself that one time, but last Wednesday night I had 5 other individuals beside myself, and we were running them all over the neighborhood. And we go to parking lots, and we park different places, and some of these are non-TIs too, as well as TIs, and we carry cameras and recorders and stuff to separate ourselves as if they were just normal shoppers, and then we show up by ourselves and sit there to let the stalkers come to bother us while everyone else videos it. So we've been pretty much on the top of getting them back for some of the ways they work and some of the things they do. Last Wednesday night we had some down some roads and paths they didn't know, and got them stuck in a few dirt roads and left them sitting there. And so we actually walked up to one car and let the air out of the tires while the people were sitting in the car. So
Take them down the dead-end road.
Yeah, dead-end road. You got it. Same road, too. I've been using that road for... Same road. I've been using that same road for 4 years now, and they still go down it. You know, you just can't teach these guys. But, it's something you can get out there and do. I was just saying that, you know, be careful because the cops are not going to be on your side.
Okay. Cool, man. Do you have any specific, like, if you do it, do you choose one specific target, or do you do it just to whoever you feel is surrounding you that day?
Well, the target's going to come. They're going to come, whoever comes. It doesn't matter to me who comes. I did pick particular places. I have a stretch of I-95 interstate that is straight about 6 miles, and you can see from one bridge to another bridge without any problem. And I'll go off a ramp onto 95. They'll follow me to the other bridge. I'll cross and wait for them, and then I get on the opposite side and go back. So we're just doing a merry-go-round for hours. And in the process, if you get someone to meet you out there, hide in the bushes or the trees, they can sit there and video it and get tag numbers and facial pictures and all of this stuff. And then the dirt road, I've been using that. If you go on GPS or Google Earth, you'll find a lot of the dead-end roads or dirt roads are not on the map. In other words, you know, the perps are using GPS. So when they pull it up on their GPS, it's not going to show these roads. And they turn down and they don't know, you know. We took the sign down that said dead-end road, and they had no way of knowing. So.
A giant pit, giant dirt pit ahead. You took that sign off.
Yeah.
It's funny. Well. Yeah. Well, yeah, because they don't GPS every dirt road, or maybe they will, but some of them aren't on the map.
Yep. Well,
so
I found some that was.
Have you ever tried to do one target for a prolonged period of time? I mean, that's what's effective. It's not effective if you just do it one time to one guy and it's a different guy every time. You have to, like, basically pick that's what makes it really horrible, is that they do it for a long period of time.
Well, they do it for a long period of time, but catching the same one every time. Now, I did have one that would show up at an exact time every morning at an exact place, and I thought to myself, how stupid can that be, you know, to show up at the same spot, same time every day. So I did take advantage of that a little bit and got some information and video and walked up on them. I got close enough to the door. I could have opened the door, but I didn't. I just mainly give them a good jolt that I was there. They thought I was somewhere else, and there I was beside the car. So we shook them up quite a bit. But usually the patterns they have is in travel. They don't usually have many patterns when it comes to being still or in one place. They do come to parking lots and stores and places on a regular basis, but not very often it's the same car or the same people. You have to work on recognizing the way they do, you know, the way they pull up and they just sit there and they watch their phone and they won't make eye contact with you. I don't care what you do, they won't make eye contact with you. Normal people pull up, they, you know, fixing their hair or putting on their mask or whatever, and they're getting ready to go in the store. These guys would just sit there and play with their phones, and they, no matter if you say, "Hey, how are you today?" You know, they won't look. So it's not so easy to. But after you do it a period of time in a certain area, you'll get used to how they act, and usually it's the same types of cars I've found. Yeah, you can pick up on the patterns and.
Patterns.
And then
that's what they do. They're trained to operate all the same. There's different faces, different cars, different license plates, but they have the same patterns.
In other words, when you show up at the store, when I show up at the store, I could call you on the phone and say, well, I'm here. They're not here yet. Oh, there's, I think that's them right there. And it might be a different car, a different person, but I know you get used to it. You kind of be able to pick it out.
What I did now the Gangstalking, I mean the drivers, they probably still follow me, but I don't really pay attention to them anymore. But in the early days, if somebody was following too closely, I would slam on my brakes, and then they would have to stop, and the people behind them would have to stop, and everybody have to change around each other. And that, I said, back up.
The recording has started.
Well, that's a good thing you brought that up, Sue, because what it amounts to is the stalkers don't seem to be that important, the fact that they're there at all. It is easy to ignore them, but usually if you see them and they're around, then you can be assured that something around you is going on that you don't see, because that's what they're a part of. They're watching you. They're letting someone know, where you are, where you're in the store, out of the store, which way you left and went away from the store, where you went next, or so on. So disrupting the stalkers can actually disrupt the people who are doing the stuff you don't see. And they're also keeping tabs on when you're headed back home, so whoever may be in your home or messing with your house or your belongings or your animals or whatever while you're gone. It's just so that's why I give it back to them. I give it back to them because, well, you can't go anywhere without the whole net being involved, even the ones you don't see.
Does anybody know they're
I get more plain
high-level stalkers? I was saying, does anybody know they're high-level stalkers, like the people that are paying for this to happen to them? Like, obviously the gang stalkers are just, they're usually poor, usually unemployed, They're not the real people. They're different every time. Does anybody know the people that are organizing this against them?
Well, if you can get, let's say, if you can get the planes and the helicopters, if you can get their tags, that will give you a clue.
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, some people know. Like, I know mine. Does anybody else know theirs?
Yeah.
Like, we should set up like a database of people that we know are organizing this.
Oh, I think some people have started, but the problem is keeping any of the information, keeping any of the pictures or data anywhere. A lady texted me last night. She had went out to walk her dog, got pictures of the car, tag number, 2 or 3 cars, and by the time she got back to her front door, the information was taken from her phone. So keeping it is a big issue. Even if you manage to keep it.
The digital databases are vulnerable.
Yeah,
but what I mean is, like, so
at the end of the road, they don't want you to have anything. At the end of the trail, they want everybody to be talking about it and have absolutely nothing.
No proof. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Richard.
That's
go
okay,
ahead.
Sue. You go ahead.
No, I didn't. I know that they're out there. It's just that my targeting has shifted, so it's like not as important. The gang stalking part of it. The thing
that's the guy in me, though, Sue.
I know.
I want to poke back at him some.
I know you do. I know, and you're a much more physical person than I am. So But I still get, I mean, if I was really interested, I could probably get the tail numbers off the planes that follow me everywhere, because they always do that. But, you know, it's just, I've been doing this for so long, it's like, there's only so much energy that I want to invest in dealing with it at this point. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely. We'd rather have your energy working on some other things anyway.
Yeah, I would rather be healing. I'd rather be, you know, just too many other levels that I'd rather.
But I
be
will
working
say
on.
I will say also to anybody listening that is willing, male or female, young or old, to have set up a type of unit of people that are willing. Well, I don't have much of a life, and they've made very good and sure of that, but I would be willing to, and I'm working on it, I always am, get out and travel to TI's homes and do some investigating, surveillance of our own, or re-engineering some of the things they do to us, and try to help as much as I can on the road. And I've done it for a long time, and I'm willing to go back out there and do it now. I got a box truck, a good-sized box truck that I'm working on right now to load up with tools and, something to fix a ceiling fan or rewire a heating and air unit or a thermostat or something that people are having trouble with that isn't working right, or blocking holes in the floors, or just showing them how to try to survive. And I'm willing to get out there on the road and do that right now. And I say to anyone else that's willing to try to help, be a part of that, let me know.
That's cool. Did you trade out your pickup truck for the box truck? Are you living in it now?
No, I'm working on that though. I'm going to have me some nice bunk beds in there, and I'm going to so I won't have to worry about the motels, and I can stay right wherever the TI is. I don't have to worry about living or going inside, and staying inconveniencing anybody, except that I'm there and have the box truck set up with surveillance.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you could do with a box truck to make it livable and and secure as well. And then maybe you could sell your house. I don't know if you want to, but that would free you up quite a bit.
Well, rolling surveillance, you see, inside that box truck, there's a lot of things I can do to secure that and be safe inside as well as have surveillance hooked to and around and on top of the truck to watch your driveway or your backyard or whatever is going on up and down the street, and meters to pick up readings, or maybe a little bit of fishing wire from tree to tree at nighttime. You never know, but maybe make someone trip and fall and hurt their little bonds. But anything at all that we can do, we should be doing.
Now we got to come up with a clever name that you could write on it.
Well, I don't know. I thought about that. Maybe just on the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. One man in a truck.
Does anybody know, like, the people that are organizing the whole operation against them? As I was saying before, like the Gangstalkers, they're just a dime a dozen. But I know some people, like there's this man who always posts on Facebook. He's from Australia. He always pinpoints this man named Vaughn Bullivant or Bullivant. I don't know who that is or who even the TI is. But does anybody know who's I know David Larson, the Larson Report. He found out that it was the Mann Foundation and Alfred E. Mann and like Joseph Schumann and a bunch of scientists that were doing this to him. Does anybody else know exactly who started the program against them?
Started is a question that a lot of people don't have. I mean, because some of us don't know when it actually started, what year and how it got started. For me, it looked like, and maybe this is how they wanted me to see it, it looked like it started because I filed federal job applications. And after that, it all got worse. So I never got the job, I never got interviewed, I just got targeted.
Boy, that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a lot of us know why. Not many of us know who, but we can connect the dots. We can connect the dots to who, and still end up with a broad answer to a lot of the other questions. So, me, I'm not a finger pointer, but if it came down to it, yes, there's bound to be documentation and proof somewhere. So, if you find that, well, good for you.
But my thing is, if you know who, you said you're not a finger pointer, right? But you kind of know, you can kind of trace it back to who it might be. If it's like government people, then maybe you don't want to get involved. If it's like Army and Navy, something like that, maybe it's like, okay, that's a little bit big. But if you guys can think of like specific people, like, oh, I worked for that guy, I did some handiwork for that guy at his house, and then after that, he also worked for, like Lockheed Martin, and it started after that. Like, if you can pinpoint the guy, I'm sure like people can trace it back to that. Am I right or am I wrong?
You could try. You could try, but then how would you prove the guy had energy weapons or the resources to set up? You know what I mean? Like, you'd have to prove that.
Yeah, it'd be hard to prove, but I'm saying as far as the gang stalking goes, you could actually go to that guy and gang stalk him a little bit. You know what I mean? Instead of gang stalking gang stalkers, you could gang stalk the main guy who was profiting off of it.
Well, if he's got you if someone in particular has got you put into this program, and you turn to gang stalk or harass or bother him, that might be a mistake. If he's got enough power and pull and money to put you in this program, you might be better off until some other answers come to the surface to, well, keep them from knowing play stupid, act like you don't know, and go along, just kind of keep it to yourself until the right thing happens when you are able to point that finger and it works. Until then, you're alerting the enemy that you're aware of them, and you're not going to be able to do so much back to them because nobody's going to believe you. But when you get that proof, once it shines, once that truth comes out, then you can point your finger.
Yeah, that's good advice. I think, so what he's saying is you got to recon, you know what I mean? It's like, you don't just jump out there and start fighting.
I mean, I've already jumped out there. Like, I could tell you exactly who's doing this to me. I could tell you exactly who's doing it and why. And I've already made many videos describing it. So it's not like I'm hidden. Plus, they can interface with my brain, so they know that I know it's them. They know everything about me. They know where I go, what I do, what I eat, what I think, what I drink, where I shit, where I pee. You know?
Yeah.
Well, that's Sue's.
There's no secret there.
Yeah, but that's Sue's point. See, the point she was making is the person that put you in this program is definitely not the one that is mapping and recording and messing with your brain and interfacing your brain with all these other things and doing all the experimentations and weapons, and they're not the one doing all this to you. If you say, well, I know that it's this person that got me here, and you're going to go to messing with that person, then what you're really going to do is increase your targeting by the people that are actually doing it to you. They're not going to let you get away with that.
Right. The low-level people are not the ones that need to be going to court or to be giving you justice. People you need to be going after in your research. And yes, they're going to follow your research. Yes, they're going to every keystroke, every paper that you download. But the research can be done and take it to higher management levels, and you'll see if your targeting increases or decreases depending on if you get the hits, depending if you get the right hits in that research. You'll notice.
I don't know. That seems like you're getting stuck in their game. If you're playing by their rules, then you're always going to get stuck. I mean, if they're making the rules, then you're always going to lose the game, right? You're already sort of in this mindset of this abuse mindset where I want to do something where I get hit less. You're sort of letting them hitting you dictate your actions, and I know it's tough not to be that way, but I'm saying the only way to really get out of this is to break their game, is to not play by these rules, like to not discern or try not to actively discern when you are getting hit and when you aren't and what actions you're doing. And they try to teach you basically through pain what you can and can't do, but you got to be like, hey,
what I was saying is using I'm not trying to play the game so much as to find out when I'm getting the right information or not.
Right. And also, it is not a game. They can say any given time to go ahead and finish you off in your life. You know too much. You've learned too much. You're starting not to have enjoyment for them doing it to you, and just get rid of you. And it's definitely not a game. So if you want to get close enough to put your feet toe to toe to their toes, and in one way or another, legally or physically or emotionally or spiritually, however you choose to handle what has happened to you, and everyone would be a little different on that one, but that step you want to be able to make. If you're out here and you're rolling this thing around like it's a game, and you know who's doing it, and you start the harassment in their direction and bothering them, trust me, they liable to find you in a trash can tomorrow morning. So you be careful with that.
Hey, listen, a trash can is, I'm sure many of you would prefer a trash can to what you experience. Let's be honest here.
Not me.
Not me either.
I get targeted as bad as any, and trash can's not for me. I want to be alive. I want to be alive and looking them right in the eye when the right time comes, even if that time is when the creator of all this existence comes back to do some things. I'd rather be there and not in a trash can.
Yeah.
I mean, look, there are so many people that kill themselves anyway. At least some of those that kill themselves could have gone out fighting. That's all I'm saying.
Well, my heart goes out to those that have been told to us that they committed suicide, but you see, we don't know that. Miss Kim Stroud was one of those, and it was said that she committed suicide. We call it suicided, and because we know better than Miss Stroud doing anything at all to herself, she made that clear to everyone by sending emails that she would never. And so we don't, if they do it to themselves by their own hands, even at that point, we don't know what happened. And they were pushed. If you push someone for 20 years to commit suicide, and then they kill themselves, you still can't call that suicide.
Yep, they do what's called behavior driving. This is from MKUltra, from Dr. Ewan Cameron. So what he used to do is he used to get his patients in a state of extreme fear and stress by electrocuting them, and then he would sleep deprive them, keep them awake, and play tape loops under their pillow telling them to kill themselves over and over and over again. And then he actually got a few of them to commit suicide, or many of them to commit suicide, through like electrocutions, sleep deprivation, and tape loop.
That's all hypnosis.
He called it behavioral driving or conditioning.
Yeah, behavioral driving, exactly.
Yeah.
Right, and keep in mind that Ewan Cameron's procedures were all hands-on and basically same room, almost. So what's happening today is electronic. It uses all of the parts of hypnosis, only it uses it in such a way as it's more like a telephone conference with a hypnotist.
So the gentleman that's speaking, what's your plan? Are you? I feel like you've got a plan, and you're trying to get permission to go through with it.
Permission from who?
Huh?
I said permission from who? No, I'm not trying to get permission. I've got no plans, and I'm also not trying to get permission. Nothing. I've got no plan. All I know is that I know who's doing it to me, and I know why they're doing it to me. I know how they're doing it to me. I know that they're making money by doing it to me, and I know these people intimately. Like this is somebody that I've known for a long time, and so I'm just thinking like what I can do. I mean, this is my 8th year, going on 9th year. Basically, all of my 20s were robbed from me. And no, I mean, finally, I'm just like, I've been sort of in this slumber, or this hypnotic state, as exactly as you would say, Frank. I've been sort of hypnotized for about the past 3 years or 4 years, and then just recently I've just been able to, I guess, not really wake up, but just like realize that I was even hypnotized. I'm not sure how to describe the hypnosis, but it's just like, it's strange. Regardless, so I know I've got, particulars, I've got specifics on who, how, what, where, when, why, and I'm just wondering what I can do about it. I mean, I can't go to the cops, I can't sue. What else can I do? The only thing that I can really think about doing is doing a stalking program, and I was thinking, well, hey, even if it doesn't work, then at least I can expose the thing. You know what I mean?
Well,
like
I could say a few words about hypnosis.
Excuse me?
I could say a few words about hypnosis.
Go ahead.
If you say you were hypnotized, the basic of hypnosis, as Frank was saying, is that it's like conference call, but it's through a telephone. Well, if you go all the way back to hypnosis, how hypnosis was, I don't know who began it. It's thousands of years ago. Only thing that they're doing is using technology to hypnotize you. And how the hypnosis works is like, do you know what demagoguery is?
Yes.
Okay. Hitler was one of the best demagogues in history, and he was one of the best mass hypnotists. He could rile up crowds and stuff, but basically he was hypnotizing the masses. But he used demagoguery to do that, and politicians do that today in modern day. They get you emotional, and the emotion, it ranges from anger to sadness, everything. The gamut of emotions. And this is how the perps do it. And Frank was right. I think he mentioned this a couple of weeks ago that he just said it in one sentence. He said that perps reminded him of like a serial killer or something, and I agree with him. I didn't say it on that call, but that was exactly what I was thinking about. That the perps are like a serial rapist or serial voyeur or serial whatever, because that's what they are. And what they want you to do is get emotional, but they're well trained. And so what they want you to do, is hypnotize you and make you an addict. And then there's a very, very thin line between perps, the way I see it, from listening, between perps and TI. Because you could go from one to the other because of your emotions. Look how easy Hitler did to the people of German people. He hypnotized them, and then he got most of the German people on his side. Before that, they were just normal, innocent people. And this is how the perps and the program is designed to do. And now I understand. I couldn't understand it for a long time. I mean, I've been on this call for maybe, 6 months, just listening. And I could understand why the TI are becoming perps in some TIs. And now I understand clearly why. Because there's a very thin line. TIs get frustrated and angry. And when you get angry, frustrated, and pissed off, then you become your enemy. That's why you have to be very, very careful with your emotions. See, you're already trying to attack the enemy, and you're gonna be like them because you're so emotional now. So that's why you're trying to get back at them.
Here, let me read you something that I found online, because this isn't really about me. This is about everybody. So I'm going to read you. I searched on Quora. I searched what is gangstalking and what mental illness do those people have. That's the question on Quora. And somebody's written a response here. It says, I'm a 42-year-old man. I've never been anywhere close to psychotic. What I witnessed was a murder cover-up, and I became a targeted individual. The Satterley family owns patents of Lockheed Martin, and Google are helping to cover up their murder. My name is Timothy Thompson. I've been targeted for 3 years because I'm a murder cover-up witness. The killers who own a satellite company and work for Google put their crime on Google Earth to brag about how they can get away with murder. He gives the coordinates. This is where you can see the blood of a young lady that they are bragging to the world that they can get away with murder about. Targeted 2, gangstalking is real, and you can't tell me otherwise anyway. So he knows who is targeting him, and I'm sure that there are many of you that have a similar situation. So my question to you all I'm saying is that what would you do if you are this guy? Like, we all feel so powerless, and we feel like, we're being watched, so we have to be on our best behavior. And, we feel like there's nothing that we can do. I'm saying that, has anybody ever tried anything different? Has anyone ever tried to empower themselves and to do something not illegal, but, do something just to poke back at the people that are destroying their lives? I mean, look, all of us were people with lives, rich lives, rich emotions.
Yes.
And how many of us would crave to get back to that? And my question is, would you ever feel bad about that, and wouldn't you ever do something about it? Or would you just sit there and get hurt, like the learned helplessness model?
No,
are you planning on being helpless for your whole life? Am I? All of us? I don't know.
There's a problem with the question, and the question, first of all, none of us feel helpless. We do what we can. Well, that's a situation you need to work on, because once you get to feeling helpless, then you might be careful even more so, because then you might become a loose cannon and make some big mistakes. But we don't feel helpless. We know we have our limits, and we work at those limits.
So helplessness.
Well, let me finish answering. You asked a question,
I think
sir.
You've misunderstood. You've misunderstood.
No, I understood perfectly. You said
when I say helpless, I don't mean that I'm
TIs.
willing to do anything.
Well,
I
that's
mean,
what you
said. I don't
said.
want to do anything.
Yeah.
I don't want to do anything.
Well, I'm understanding that, and perfectly, and a lot of people do. But you see, we try to promote as much so as possible that you can't feel that way. You have to pick yourself up. You have to dust yourself off. You have to take those steps forward no matter what, even in the event of being targeted and beaten down and whatever. You still have to look for the horizon that there's some sort of light. You can't fight back very well if you've given up before you start.
So what does fighting back entail to you if it's not doing nothing, which is helplessness, which is what most of us do?
It's different for every person. And by the way, you're assuming that most of us have not fought back, and we have.
What have you done?
We're all fighting back in our own ways. That's the truth. I mean, look at Frank, what he's done. Look at what everyone has done, not what we haven't done.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to Washington twice. I've been in Boston all the while, and I'm always doing something for the community. I try my best.
That's right. We all have different ways of fighting back. Some of us are more physical, some are more legal, some are more, letter writing, some are more, energetic. Some of
I
us
fight back 20 hours a day, young man, and right now I'm sitting in the lobby of my building. I want this fellow to listen to this. I'm sitting in the lobby of my building where I've been for 2 or 3 years, all through the night. I'm not going into my apartment, which is a death chamber. This is my way of fighting back. I don't want to go in there and get targeted, get hammered, get burnt to death, chemically poisoned, biowarfare, insects, all that stuff. So I don't go into my apartment. That's my way of rebellion against this. I'm in the lobby. I'm sitting on a straight back chair for 7 hours every night right now. So that's my way of fighting back, and I feel much healthier.
Tell them what you used to do, Luda, with all the packages of evidence you sent and letters and all of that you did before.
I sent hundreds and hundreds of letters to Congress, to judges, to you name it, inspector generals, to presidents, to everything else under the sun. And I feel I'm living a better life. I stopped doing that because I've done all I can there. So I can't do any more there, but it's making my life better not to be playing into their and just sitting there under their magnetron being burnt to death every night. So as far as I'm concerned, we all have our own way of fighting back, and some of ours isn't pretty. I'm sleep deprived. I haven't slept probably in 36 hours now. I'm not tired. You get to a point where you don't know how to sleep and it doesn't bother you anymore. And this annoys them also. I should be exhausted, but I'm not. I have a lot of work to do tonight. Pardon?
How many years has it been for you?
26, and I've been sleep deprived for over 15, sleeping maybe an hour and a half every 2 days.
Oh, man.
How would you like that life?
I'm on year 9, and I know that it can be worse, and that's what makes me go.
This is what I'm saying. We all have different targeting, and it's very, very different for all of us. Everybody's in different ways.
Well,
and you have to remember how much has been done in the past before you even heard about us. I mean, a lot of warfare. Spiritual warfare, legal warfare, emotional, psychological, all of that has been done for decades before a lot of TIs on this call and never even heard of it.
I just discovered I was a TI 5 years ago, Sue, 5 years ago. So I was 21 years fighting this battle myself.
Right.
I didn't think I was the only one, but I had no way of figuring it out because I didn't have good computer access. I didn't have the ability to research, plus they wouldn't allow me to do this. But everything was crazy until I finally found out 5 years ago that I was targeted. I didn't know that.
I didn't know about it either until like 7 years ago. That's when I started figuring it out.
Must be so relief. I remember the day that I figured out that there were other people like me. It was just like, oh my God, I was so happy. I think I literally cried tears of joy.
Well, we are all survivors, and we didn't get there to claim that title by doing nothing.
That's right.
We're all fighting hard.
My point is that we've all, no offense to everybody else. I mean, everybody's done the letter writing. I'm not saying this to be demeaning. I'm just saying that we've all tried this stuff, and it hasn't, I mean, it's worked to some extent. There have been small victories here and there. But I was just wondering if there's anything else that we could do that we haven't tried yet. You know, like I was working on this problem the other day with the computers. I was writing some code, and I couldn't get it right, and I kept trying the same thing for days and days. And then finally I tried something different, and the something different worked. And I was like, I would have never thought about that. I just did it like on a whim. I just said, all right, let's see if this works. And then I did it, and it worked. And I was just thinking, like, this is sort of a similar problem. If we keep doing the same thing over and over again, then we're not going to get any different results. I was just wondering if there is anything different that I can think of.
Well, we have people studying. What you should be studying is DC voltage, high voltage, clean voltage, and start working with some of Tesla's experiments. Try using positive ground systems. I mean, in the ground. You know, start working with some experiments. You seem knowledgeable. Start doing something.
You mean like defensively to protect myself?
Right.
Yes, countermeasures. Some people, like I've worked with countermeasures. I've worked with Tesla's wireless electricity, which is very, very easy to do. But that's not what it's all about. I've tried Tesla coils. Tesla coils are not going to help you. A fixed EMP will help you, but it has to be done in a larger way. There's a gentleman in Mexico that's done it. But I'd like to research his work. Yeah, I've been targeted 9 years last October the 15th. So I have had about enough. I have found that I could get on a radio platform, and I did 5 nights a week for 2 years, and I got censored off. I'm looking for another station, and as soon as I find another station that I can deal with, I'll be back on radio again too. So I kicked the hell out of this thing on radio. And you can go to my YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/C/targeted Massachusetts. But we all work very hard. None of us are brand new at this. And as far as any ideas you have, they're great. Make them known. Try them out. Find other TIs that will work with you.
Yeah, I've been sort of fighting alone. I've been doing all the science stuff, the Faraday cage, the grounding, I was telling you the other day about a Helmholtz coil, about a low-frequency generator, jammers, and all the stuff that everybody does. A Tesla coil I've made my own.
You built a Helmholtz coil?
Yes.
That's a very expensive proposition.
No, it was... Excuse me?
What was the diameter and the voltage you used?
14 inches diameter.
What was the distance between the two?
14 inches.
Very good.
And the voltage, I just used a DC power source, so I had like this old DC battery that I hooked up to it. I think it was 12 volts. Or no, sorry. It was one of those Cycle Marine batteries.
So that'd be 12. So how did you use this Helmholtz coil? Because that's a very interesting piece of equipment. And if you go to buy one, like from a college or something like that, or from a science fair, they're very, very, very expensive. And they're very expensive.
They're about $400 online. It's about $400 online.
All right. Well, you better check what you built on, because they go for a lot more than that.
Oh yeah, maybe, could be. But anyway, I've experimented. I've built low frequency radios. I've, plugged into different antennas and all the things. I've gone to spectrum analyzers. I've got a local radio shop, and I made friends with those people. And I found my frequencies. I've traced them back to the people. I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, I've built up all this evidence, but I mean, even still, I'd get thrown out of court quicker than you could say, Jimmy, like anything.
Okay,
so well, it doesn't. I'm sort of figuring out that it doesn't really matter how smart I am or what I do or what I prove. The fact of the matter is, they're not going to let you do anything.
Okay. Well,
do you all feel that way?
No, we don't. I don't feel that way. I do whatever the hell I want to do, and I get attacked severely, psychologically and physically. No, you never, ever give in to what they want. Claim your life back. That's what I tell everyone. Claim your life back. It's your life. It's not their life to live through. Do you realize that some of these perps are quadriplegics doing all this shit with their dongle in their mouth? Some of them are in wheelchairs. Well, you got to do some research. You really do. As far as gangstalking, I don't experience it. I don't experience 6 red cars or 6 white cars, or a guy with an Indian hat means it's going to rain. I respect that, but I can't relate to it, because that is something that I look to others to explain. And that's why people come on here and explain gangstalking. So you are working with Helmholtz coils and all these other, like a Faraday cage, and what you've explained to us that you have is gangstalking, which is physical.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Frank, I just want to jut in and say thank you for the time, for the call. Hope you feel better, and hope everyone has a good night.
Yeah, say a prayer for Mike Mason, okay?
How's Mike doing? What happened to Mike?
He's in a bad place right now. Let's just say that.
I used to be his good friend. I haven't talked to him in so long. I hear that.
Yeah, I don't.
Frank, do you think it's because, like, we've been talking about, everything seems to be escalating because of the 5G stuff, and do you think that has something to do with it, as far as people just, like, can't take anymore? Do you think it's kind of like 5G?
They're pushing to the end. They're taking it to the limit. And that's what they're trying to do. They're pushing it. They're pushing the envelope every day. And that's why it seems like it's getting worse. We're just getting out of the holidays. That's the worst time, as we all know. And we're just leaving the holidays. And we all need to stay in touch with each other. Call each other more often. Call me more often. I could use a pick-me-up once in a while, that's for sure. Call Sue. Call everybody.
Yeah.
That's what helps. But as far as what you said, yes. If you could see, if you had a pair of glasses that would allow you to see all the frequencies that are in a room that you're in, you would not be able to see. You would just see white snow. That's how many frequencies we have created on this earth, from FM to AM to VHF. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Now we've got all of these devices running. Everybody thinks it's cool to own a 5G phone. Well, that's nice. When you have a 5G, which is actually 70 and 120 gigahertz beam go right through your head and just stay running through your head for about 15 minutes, well, I don't think you'll be feeling too well.
You know, it must be the ignorance, too. You know, the people that are the sheeple type mentality that are interested in money, that's really where you can tell the sociopath and the psychopath. But I think it has a lot also to do with ignorance, and how they're conning this as some kind of fun technology game. Isn't this cool? And what they don't realize is that they're being used while they're using and hurting someone else. So, they're not. It's not some special popular club that. It doesn't happen to you if you do this bullshit, excuse my French, but it happens to, 24/7, and I don't know if they promise them, well, if you do what you're supposed to do, we'll turn it off. That's a bunch of BS. They don't care. They have it on 24/7. You know what I mean? So it must be them really playing on the ignorance and uninformed of the public.
Yeah.
To be able to, yeah.
And you can't pay them off either, because if you go to meet somebody that's supposed to take money, they're not there. There's nobody there. You'll never find anybody there because they're strapped to a chair in front of their computer, addicted out of their minds.
Yeah. Which sabotages their life at the same time.
Exactly. Somebody asked me what to tell the perps as a countermeasure. Like, what do I do? Just say, oh, wow, I've been targeted a little over 9 years. Guess what? So have you. You've spent 9 years of your life following me around. You can't put that screen down. You can't walk away from it. You can't get away from it. You have to watch what's going on. We are the drug. They are the addicts.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
They're making me want a cigarette.
They need us more than we need them. That's for sure.
Well, I certainly don't need them.
I mean, they are addicted, like you said. They need us 24/7, and I don't need them or that at all. But boy, are they addicted to us and are and such low life that they have to spy on my pathetic little life. I mean, how boring and ridiculous.
Yeah, who gravitates to weddings, funerals? Court. Who gravitates to that? Nobody,
right.
Except the people that have to. But these things accompany you there. So, it doesn't matter. 365 days a year, all day long.
Yeah. And the six that they come up with, is the scenarios they come up with, it just shows how twisted the handler, programmer, or whatever they control, or whatever they call them, it just shows how sick and twisted, these scenarios they come up with are crazy.
You think about a few little things. For instance, all this money they make, they don't have any time to do anything with it. They sit and watch me cook and make delicious meals. What are they eating out of cardboard boxes and drinking pop all day or whatever? One guy, I used to hear the pop cans being opened all the time. So, drinking pop all day, soda, soft drink, whatever you want to call it, eating out of cardboard boxes. What kind of a life is that? They're the slaves. I'm living a fairly normal life. I'm going out every day. I'm getting away from it. I'm doing, as much as I can. Of course, I'm followed with certain things, but I'm with people. I don't know. I'm accomplishing a lot. And they're just slaves to these machines. They're absolute slaves. They can't leave them because if anybody walks in the room where they're set up, they're in deep mud. Let's say maintenance goes in or somebody that's on the up and up, they're in a hell of a mess with all these things sitting around, all these weapons, handheld things and magnetrons and everything else they're using. So I don't know. I think we're better off than they are. Boy, I wouldn't want their life for any amount of money. At least I'm free. I come and go as I please.
They have enslaved themselves, and sometimes I think that they are so angry that they've enslaved themselves that they take it out on us because they are the ones that have enslaved their life to this and to us. And you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, but they're definitely slaves. I wouldn't want their life. I'm not a slave. I can do anything creatively I want. If I want to put a headset on and listen to a book or music or whatever I want to do, I'm doing it. I don't care. I try to not even think about this program as much as I can. I may be burned to death, but I'm trying not to think about it.
But it's
called learned helplessness. That's the hypnosis that I was in, like trying not to think about it. I don't know. When I feel that way, I feel like I'm almost hypnotized, and trying to ignore it.
Yep. If you try not to think of it, you think about it.
I don't know. I don't know. It's so strange. It's like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. So.
Yeah, that's the I don't know what's the word for it, but Frank was right. I have to say that the only antidote to this perps and hypnosis and all that is to reclaim your life. Do what you want to do as much as you can. That'll get the perps so angry and pissed off, which will kill them. It will kill them. Anger and hatred will kill those and just make them more angry and hateful. It'll kill them mentally and hopefully physically too. But if you claim your life, you do what you want to do, that's the best antidote